but I'm starting it back up. And
internet issue if it was gone on both Google Meets and on
my internet
Twitch
just
and YouTube.
crapped out for no real reason. I don't know what the hell happened there.
We'll skip back like a minute or so in the video, and then we'll just, whenever you're ready, and then we can start off where we left off.
Yeah, how long? Yeah, okay. I don't know when we dipped out. Go back to like there. I don't know.
Yeah.
He wasn't saying anything particularly interesting, for what it's worth.
No, he never does.
No.
Was introducing new jail sentences for offending. The second is rebuilding the system. So we've got to upgrade and replace the water pipes, the sewage pipes, and we brought in £104 billion of private sector investment to do that. But
yeah, exactly. I was ranting about him saying private sector investment.
You were, yes.
Because that's not private sector investment. Because the bills are specifically going up because the companies say they need the money to invest in the infrastructure. I'm like, that was what you should have been doing for all of those fucking years ago that you haven't been doing.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, now all of my viewers are gone and I have to start again. Fantastic. Wonderful. I do love the internet. Fucking hell.
We're going to hear tomorrow from Sir John Cunliffe, who is leading a review for me on what we do about regulation and the
But in terms of this target, what is actually new about it? Because
again, and year in, and you're now setting up another quango to see what you might do about a regulator. Why did you have no plan for this?
Because they didn't have any plans. Actually, what's interesting is someone was remarking about this on Twitter, saying, "Yeah, they just have no plans. What the fuck have they been doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they spent 5 years purging the left. Keir Starmer was never ever supposed to be Prime Minister. He was supposed to be the guy who was there as the fucking empty suit that they could use to purge the left until fucking McShitter was appointed to be leader of the free world to win the election in 2029, right? That was what the plan was. And then Liz Truss happened, and they're like, "Oh shit, we might be in government. Quangos and inshallah."
But you know the lesson they've learned from the recent debacle about the pip cuts and all the rest of it is they've just gone, let's purge the left more. Let's just get rid of these 4 MPs and then get rid of Diane Abbott. Yeah. So there's none left whatsoever. And you know what John McDonnell did? He didn't write a nicely worded letter. He wrote a nicely worded article asking nicely for Diane Abbott to be allowed back into the Labour Party. So, I mean, honestly, you have...
He's holding feet to the fire.
Why do you exist, John McDonnell? Really? Like, you have so tarnished whatever it was that you were before. You were going to be tied to the Corbyn thing regardless, and now you're just a doddering old wanker and needs to get the fuck out of the way.
I still really like him. I still have a lot of respect for him, but it's just...
I'm not sure.
He's just... The problem is he's just so, emotionally connected to Labourism as a concept that he can't admit that it's over.
He's very much Homer Simpson with the massive hoagie.
Literally, well, how could I stay mad at you?
Yeah, it's green and festering and he's ill, but it's just like, I know I just have to keep continuing to eat the thing that's furry.
Although Phantom of Black asks, by the way, can someone explain to me what the whole briefcase thing is when talking about politicians? When you call them briefcase rankers. So I mean, this
goes back to 1926 when the briefcase was invented.
Well, it's just left-wing like Twitter speak for people who perceive their politics through the lens of seriousness rather than the lens of the utility of the policy that they support, right? Where it's all about, well, I want to be a politician and I think I should be elected because I'm sensible and I'm the adult in the room, rather than because I have policies that will solve the problems that voters want to have solved.
And it comes from the television show The In-Betweeners, the comedy, where the character is like a kind of stuffy upper-class nerd guy who goes to a new school with a briefcase and they start calling him Briefcase Wanker. And that became like a kind of meme in of itself of being like a dork, I guess. Yeah. So briefcase.
To quote some guy from the Labour Students' Conference who was interviewed by Politics Joe, it's people who like the idea of politics. But not people who actually care about changing people's lives.
Well, because people who are comfortable enough where it's just a game for them. Like Matt Ford. But Matt Ford doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Matt Ford if people on disability get fucked, because it doesn't affect him. He's fine. He's a millionaire or whatever. He's grand. He can do fucking tours about, jokers to the left of me, wankers to the right, or whatever, and earn a fortune, like Campbell and fucking as if the rest of his politics filled out like auditoriums of people. Those people need to be dealt with. Frankly.
Literally. Yeah, an intervention needs to be had. Ironically, I was listening to one of their podcasts the other day, where they essentially were having to defend their own positions that the genocide was bad from their own viewers. Like they were saying, no, I'm sorry, it's a genocide. You can't defend genocide. But what about Israel's rights? I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, even when Alistair Campbell has to tell his own audience that war crimes are bad, something may have gone wrong.
Yeah. When Iraqi McIraq face, if that's a bit of a weird way of putting it, has a go at you. Yeah, you're probably on the wrong side. I reckon you've gone too far. We get the briefcase wanker. Thank you, everybody. Much love.
I just suggested actually, does it mean that people are going to have to put up with half the levels of sewage in their water that they've had for the last few years? We've looked at the numbers. If you have it, you only go back to 2019 when there were still 225,000 sewage.
But that's the Labour promise, to be the ratchet, to just allow the Tories to go as far as they like, and then they might pull it back a tiny bit, but nowhere near back to where it was. So you don't even get back what you lost under the Tories. And then the Tories get back in, or in this case Farage or whoever, and they just ratchet it further forward and further forward and further forward.
And in some cases they do even worse, like with the disability cuts.
Yeah. Or the weird new Section 28 thing about trans people, which is very worrying.
Oh yeah, Bridget Phillipson's just a full-on turf. She's just a fucking disgusting person.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you see Ellie Chownes's nonsense? That was disappointing. No? Oh, okay. Diversion time, I think. Yes. At the aforementioned Greens leadership debate thing, she was there with Polanski, but not Briefcase on this particular occasion. I suppose that's the advantage of the two people running together. You can do two different events. One Briefcase, one not. It turns out she might be a bit turfy at least.
Thank you. So I think the question was, what do I think the main challenge facing trans people in the UK is at the moment? And I'm going to answer this reflecting on what my trans constituents have said to me, and I've actually just been writing to a number of them this week. And they've told me that they feel they experience prejudice, discrimination. They've told me they feel fear about the implications of the Supreme Court judgment and the HRC guidance in particular. They feel hope, they've told me, that we will get to a better place as a society on contested issues. And they told me they want me to advocate for them and to understand their concerns. And I've met with many of my trans constituents in my constituency surgery. Of course, I've had trans colleagues, family members, like all of us, for years. But it's been really important for me, I think, to listen to the voices of my trans constituents in recent months in particular, and to think about how I can best represent them and advocate for them, and recognising, of course, the point that Zach made very validly, just because you're Jewish doesn't mean you speak for Jews, just because you're trans doesn't mean you speak for trans people, and there is a diversity of views among every group. As a non-trans person, I think it's really important that I listen, that I reaffirm it's absolutely fine to be trans. It's absolutely a valid identity. Being trans is real, absolutely, and non-binary, of course. And I'm sort of distressed personally, I suppose, just speaking very personally, by the lack of compassion that is sometimes there in the debate over trans rights among a range of people, and I'm not saying this is on one side or another at all. I think that we all really need to listen to each other. I think we all need to avoid jumping to conclusions about each other.
I saw Pablum.
I think we need
She
to
said nothing.
She said nothing.
She's literally said nothing.
She said nothing so far. Yes.
See, to be able to have open conversations about contested issues, and that's not just about it could be about, I don't know, HS2 or nuclear power.
Contested issues is an interesting phrase. I didn't realise
It's like,
people's
it's like when
existence.
people talk about, yeah, it's like when people talk about quote unquote competing rights, yeah.
Yeah.
All sorts of issues, but there are sometimes issues where things should really get very crunchy, and as a party, I think compassion needs to be our absolute guiding principle, and we absolutely can respect that there is a ruling in law that is clarifying the difference between biology and social gender. Yes, there's a difference between sex and gender, and at the same time, we absolutely must continue to be a party that is supportive of trans.
Does it clarify that? I'm not sure it does
I
clarify.
mean, it literally only clarifies the usage of this distinction with regards to the application of the Equality Act. It at no point made any like hard and fast conclusions about anything else other than the specific the specific implementation of the Equality Act. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Trans rights welcoming our trans brothers and sisters and upholding human rights and dignity for everybody. Thank you.
Bit rough that.
I think
the question was.
It seemed to be wishy-washy, but I think the quote that's being used there is, I think it's not as unfair, but I think that it's clear she's trying to she's trying to traverse a line, I guess. But
True, but look, when you were on the same ticket as the guy who refused to say trans women are women and trans
I guess
men are
that's
men,
true, yeah.
like, I'm sorry you don't get the benefit of the doubt from me.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, grim, fucking grim.
Sewage spills.
Well, I'm able to make that commitment to halve sewage pollution from water companies within 5 years because...
Or get them to stop spilling any amount of shit into my fucking water, you prick. That is your job. That is what you're supposed to do.
Again, prison sentences.
Yeah. And for this prick as well. You're basically tacitly saying you're going to have to put up with massive amounts of piss and shit in your water, but aren't I doing a good job? No, gulag. Simple. Or should I say poolag? I thank you.
Because of that set of actions that we've taken, because of those building blocks. That isn't the end of our ambition, of course. Over a decade of national renewal, we need to restore all of our rivers, lakes and seas to good health. But if you remember, up until this year, sewage pollution has got worse every single year. This is the line that we're now drawing. We turn this situation
So
around.
your first year it got worse. You're tacitly saying it got worse under our first year in charge. Brilliant. Fantastic. You are a special person.
And over the next 5 years, we reduce that type of sewage pollution from water companies by 50% at least. And then we go on, of course, there'll be an election in between if we're re-elected to restore all of our rivers and lakes.
Lol. Just lol. The fuck are you talking about? If
Literally,
we're re-elected?
you have to re-elect us, otherwise we won't take the shit away.
Yeah. So basically, you're not going to achieve this. You've deliberately set this after the next election, knowing you will never have to meet that target because you won't get re-elected. Fantastic.
And seas to the purity that we remember.
But what's actually different about you saying that? Because that has been the situation since December. The regulator then told companies that to get their permits, they had to say they'd have it within 5 years. What's the difference you saying it today?
Well, the difference is all of those other measures that we brought in as well. So banning bonuses, increasing jail
but I just
sentences.
wonder why people should sit up and
let me
pay
give you an
attention
example.
today.
So one of the big water companies, they call it a price review period. It's the 5-year period in which they commit to spend a certain amount of investment in upgrading pipes. They missed over 50% of those targets. So governments have come out before, made less ambitious targets that they failed to meet. Tomorrow, I'm going to listen to what Sir John Cunliffe has said, we're going to have a revolution in the rules that govern our water sector. We're going to completely transform that broken regulatory system so that we get more of a grip on what the water companies are doing, so that I can say with confidence that this commitment I'm making will be delivered and I will be held to account for delivering
So
it.
if you don't, do you resign, you quit, you lose your job if that target isn't met?
Well,
You go to jail. What are you talking about? You lose your job. He's going to lose his job anyway. He's a Labour MP. The next election, he's gone. They're all fucking gone.
What's his constituency? Let's have a look.
I have no idea, but I mean, just statistically speaking, it's very, very likely he loses his job.
Croydon North. Streatham and Croydon North is his constituency. He's a London person. I mean, the Green Party are in second place in his seat.
Oh, nice.
Chat. So people who genuinely care about the environment, unlike this person who's very happy to let private companies foul it up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking great for old Stevie boy.
Just saying, the Greens are going to sweep away quite a lot of shit with this.
True.
I'm making an absolute commitment and I'm committed to delivering it. And my intention...
You should be
assuming I'm
committed.
lucky enough to still be in the same
Ew.
job in 5 years' time, I would love to sit here with you then, Laura, and point to places
Yeah,
like...
good point. Who did steal his neck? It's just shoulder and then chin. There's no neck there.
Also, what's interesting, I mentioned this on stream yesterday, but I think it'll be interesting for you as well, is that when it comes to constituencies at the next election, there might be a boundary review, because now that there's automatic voter registration and 16 and 17-year-olds are going to be able to vote, and constituency boundaries are done based upon registered electors rather than...
And it's supposed to be roughly, use it 80,000-ish per seat.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
obviously it'll be way more, because
'cause
not
there's
only
more
will there
people.
be more registered people, but there'll also be more people who are eligible as well.
Yeah.
So this will mean, and rural and urban seats like in London have a lower level of registration than in rural areas.
Yeah.
So it means that, and the next boundary review, because of these changes, is going to massively skew towards urban seats, because that's where more young people live, and where the registration is lower.
Yeah.
So we could have a real kind of there's some real gerrymandering going on, and you know what? Based.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
gerrymandering that's going to favour the Greens.
I
Corbyn,
certainly
essentially.
think Birmingham will see a significant increase, because we've got a lot of younger people. We do have a younger population here.
True. And you'll also get a load of people, probably there's like low levels of registration amongst the kind of the big Muslim communities in Birmingham as well.
Big Muslim communities, and also it depends exactly how it breaks down. Like I remember who was it? The guy who was one of the Cambridge seats for ages. He basically managed to gerrymander it so that all of the students stayed and registered in that seat, and was able to basically bump himself over the line with that. So if that's like 3 or 4 seats that are in the student housing districts, by the university, or indeed by Aston University in the centre of the town, if they try and get those to register there rather than back at home wherever they're from, that could massively skew it as well, I think.
That's true, and also when this is literally how Rosie Duffield became an MP, because the fact that the Canterbury seat was kind of shifted around, so it basically became half university students, and they all voted Labour.
Yeah.
Of course,
Well, exactly, yeah.
Of all the people that could win Canterbury for the first time ever, it's fucking Rosie bloody Duffield.
Absolutely mental. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Reform make any big gains in Birmingham. But it doesn't matter. I can't see them winning seats here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Depends how badly Labour collapse, really. Just plenty of time to go.
Like Windermere, and see how much cleaner they are than
I'm
today.
sure that's what our
We're
views
turning
were
a
like, but you're
story
saying-
of decline into a story of renewal.
But you have just put your job on the line because you believe
Well, it
you can
should
get
be,
it
shouldn't
done.
it? Politicians come and say we're going to do things. Of course, our job should be on the line if we don't.
What about the question of who pays? So people have already seen their bills go up and up and up. It's already predicted
So they're
that the
used to
bills
it
are going
then.
to go up over
It's
the next
fine.
5 years in order to pay for what you call a revolution. And some of the companies are asking if they can put them up even more. Will you let them do that?
Well, that's being dealt with by the regulators and an appeals. Frankly,
Hang on, you've just told us you're going to take personal charge of this. You know how
Well,
much
I'm
people
going to strengthen
care.
regulation because it's failed, and we'll find out precisely how tomorrow. But I'm furious about the bill rises that we saw last year. They happened because of 14 years of failure under the previous government, I'm afraid, where they could have intervened and made sure that that investment to fix the broken sewage pipes was going in.
But
They didn't.
you're in charge
They
now.
didn't. Yeah, but this is the point is you can learn from the past to improve the future.
But the question
if
here
you
is
if you see a crack in the wall of your home and you leave it for 10 years, it gets much more expensive to fix. That's what happened with our water pipes. Bill payers were made to pay the price of failure. I'm furious about that. And by changing the whole system, root and branch reform, I can make sure.
I'm furious about that, which is why I'm going to halve the problem.
I'm so furious. I expect it to be sorted in a very long time frame. Don't worry, no rush.
Yeah, absolutely. He's livid. Look at him.
Money is going in every year that we will never again see that kind of massive bill hike that customers had to pay last year.
But will you let them put bills up in the way that they're already asking to, or will you say no?
Well, I'm just saying, what will happen is...
So he's going to let them go up. Again, just to sort of tell you, whenever a politician doesn't answer the question directly, it means yes, they're going up. Even if he says no, that doesn't guarantee a no, obviously, because they're lying bastards. But if they don't even answer it, then yes, they're going up.
Yeah.
It's not the government that sets the bills, it's the regulator. We're going to reform the...
Right, and who sets the regulator? You've put a fucking layer of bureaucracy between you and the problem. But you deal with...
But the Quango will do everything. The Quango will be successful. Like, I know there was a problem with Quangos, right? But we're going to get rid of the bad Quangos and replace with good Quangos. That's how elections work.
Yay!
No actual kind of democratic accountability for anybody. No. Just different sets of Quangos get created by each government, you know?
A representative Quangocracy. That's what we have.
The regulator. We'll find out more about that tomorrow. But a key part of that will be you make the water companies pay to upgrade the pipes so they don't collapse to the extent that you need huge bill rises to put them back into a decent state again. If we can get that right, we will get that right, you have a much level model for how bills will go up. No more massive bill shocks like we had at the end of last year.
And you say a revolution, you say root and branch reform, presumably that means getting rid of the regulator.
Well, I've asked Sir John Cunliffe to advise me on that.
He's
publishing his report
Quango!
Tomorrow morning. We need to wait and see what he's got to say, and then I'll respond.
But you're the decision.
Okay, but nobody elected this cunt. I don't know who the fuck he is. I don't know anything about him. No one's elected this human being. Why are you giving over your power to this fucking freak? Do your fucking job!
Also, sorry, I just want to interject and say thank you, Jack, for pointing out. I did miss your super chat. I didn't have my notifications on, so I didn't hear it. But yeah, thank you for the £5. You know whether when Zach spoke before Eddie Chowns, one of the first things he said was trans rights are human rights. Well, I'm glad that we're all supporting him for the leadership election.
True. Honestly, I'm getting to the point though, like, if Polanski doesn't win, I mean, not only am I not joining the Green Party, I might not fucking vote for them at this rate.
I mean, well, hopefully there'll be a Corbyn party if that's the case, you know.
I will say, yeah. Yes, anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, you can give us both money in the form of bits and subs and memberships and super chats and things like that. Yeah.
Decision maker here.
I'm the decision maker, but first of all, I need
and
the
recommendation. And do you have confidence in the regulator?
Yeah, I'm the decision maker, but I need to find out tomorrow what my decision is. Brilliant. You're a star.
What? The regulator's clearly failing. It's failed everybody. It's failed customers. We saw those huge bill rises. It's failed the environment.
It's because having a model of having a privatised network with a fucking toothless regulator is a shit system, and you need a different fucking system.
Yeah.
We see the state of iconic lakes like Windermere, beaches like the beach at Bournemouth. I've been up and down this country and spoken to wild swimmers, parents, everybody furious about the state of our water.
So
clearly regulation must change.
And I've come to the conclusion that they should only have to deal with half of the poo bubbles. Brilliant. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that. Fucking hell. Again, they're tinkering at the edges at best and pretending that it's like some transformation that they're doing. This is why you're going to lose. You fucking pathetic, spineless bastards. God almighty, you're pathetic.
Precisely how it changes, Sir John will make his recommendations tomorrow. I will respond.
Okay, but by the end of tomorrow you will say whether or not Ofwat is going off, some people might say.
Yeah, well, you know, I shouldn't really speculate about what's going to happen tomorrow. That will happen.
You're not
less than
speculating, you're the
24 hours.
decision maker. And I think sometimes our viewers know when a cabinet minister who sits in the cabinet who makes decisions says, I'm not going to speculate. You're not a speculator, you're the decision maker.
Well,
No, he's not. He has to find out. He's being told tomorrow by this random prick what his decision is. He's not a decision maker. He's a little cock boy.
Well, I mean, this again. What's been pointed out before is that this whole like dynamic is specifically crafted to completely absolve any government minister of any responsibility whatsoever. Just
Yeah.
if we make all the decision making being done by independent adjudicators or people engaging in inquiries or people doing strategic reviews or people being quangos, right? Then we are not blamed for anything. We asked someone else who did it. They gave a suggestion and then they suggested the wrong thing. No skin off my nose.
Yeah. Thank you for the raid on YouTube, My Left Eye. Hello, My Left Eyers. Welcome in. I'm Kevin Logan, socialist from the UK. Hit the subscribe button and all that jazz. I'm also joined by the star of Navarra Media, No Justice MTJ, otherwise known as Helena.
Hello, my left eye viewers. Welcome.
Do you go by
make sure you follow Kevin.
Do you go by your surname on No Navarra? I've never really checked.
No. I always go by Helena, No Justice MTG.
There you go. Fair enough. Okay. Well, we'll leave that there then.
You're playing you're not going to tell us till tomorrow.
I only got it last night. And when I go back from this interview, I'm going to read it very, very carefully.
Okay.
Then when Sir John makes his announcement tomorrow, I will respond.
Okay, well, I think no one will be surprised if in the pages of that it says perhaps have a different regulator. But let's move on. One of the other things that makes people's blood boil is how much the water bosses get paid. And you are nodding vigorously, even when I ask that
No, I don't
question.
care. I don't fucking care. Stop hiking bills. Stop taking out debt to pay shareholders and put things back into fucking public ownership, right? You know what would be a really easy way to ensure that people aren't getting mad about big bonuses, which aren't nearly as egregious as the shareholder dividends, right? Is if these were all in public ownership and neither of these things were happening at all.
Yeah, because we could set what those payments are.
Of Southern Water, which has been criticised heavily, has been given an extra payment this week, nearly doubling his salary to more than £1 million. Is that acceptable?
It's outrageous, in my opinion. They're a private company.
And so you're going to do nothing about it? Cool. Because I was about to say that's outrageous, and he's furious, and he's really mad, and he's going to do absolutely nothing to stop it.
I mean, but again, they are a private company, but he's not. He's openly said the problem, and they will do nothing to solve it, right? Yeah, okay, you make it's a private company, it's terrible. I'm like, yes, make it so that it's not.
Yeah.
Nationalise it.
Yeah, change the thing that's the bad thing, which is that it's a private company, which means you can't do anything about it.
And they can take their own decisions about pay, but I really would implore them to think about how this looks to their customers. Trust between the customers.
Right, but you give them a continued permit to operate.
Yeah, they don't have to care about their customers because their customers have no choice about who they pay their fucking water bills to because it's a captive market, because it's a natural monopoly.
Yeah.
Why should they care? They have the customers are completely fucking. The customers are the little cucks.
Because you can't choose.
Literally.
In any free market, you have to have the ability to not choose, or to choose not to engage. I don't have to go to Sainsbury's. I don't have to go to Aldi's. I don't have to go to any of these places. I do have to drink water. Well, that's not an option to not do that. And it's not like there is a separate company that can give me water. There's 710. What the fuck's it called? Severn Trent is the company, right? That's it. That's the company that provide water for everything here. So it's not a market. It's not a market.
And even then, even if they tried to make it a market, that would be fucking impossible. What, are you going to have, 4 different sets of pipes going to each house?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes no fucking sense.
No, I'm on O2 for my H2O. Yeah, that works.
Is at the lowest point probably ever. And by paying their senior executives rises of that kind, what message are they sending to their customers? I really would urge them to think about this very, very, very carefully.
So should he turn down that pay rise?
Well, I think it would be right if he did. It's a matter for him. It's not a matter for government.
But you do
where
have
we
a
were
view
able
that
to
he shouldn't be
intervene.
taking-
No, it is a matter for government. Why have you ceded any control over the fucking country? Why are you doing this? Jesus Christ!
They like the idea of politics. They don't care about governance.
Like, how the fuck? Why did you bother getting into politics to just sit there and be a suit? Because that's all you are. You might as well not exist as a person. You might as well just be the suit there. You would stand for just as much. It's embarrassing. That's not a matter for government. Why are there things that aren't a matter for government? What the fuck does
You're in
that
control of
mean?
the whole country. The whole country is the matter for the government.
Yeah. Fucking hell. It's embarrassing. I tell you what is a matter for government. Some people, they did a video call where they might have caused a public nuisance. 20 billion years each. That's a matter for the government, apparently.
Yeah, and also matter for the government. People holding signs. Terrorist old ladies holding signs. How fucking dare they?
Signs. Hamas 86-year-olds. Yes.
It was on bonuses, multi-million pound bonuses, completely unfair given the level of the level of failure in this sector. But I really think the companies need to look at what they're doing and the signal it sends to their customers, who are already rightly furious with them.
Honestly, it's not a matter for government. I want to sit here and just do like a satirical rundown of the things that this government have tried to intervene on. The set list at Glastonbury is a matter for the government, apparently. Because apparently it's unacceptable that certain acts are allowed on at Glastonbury. That's a matter for the government. The government can take a position on that. But not on you having to drink fecal matter. That's not a problem, apparently. That's fine.
Keir Starmer had to mention fucking Bob Villan in the fucking House of Commons.
Yep.
That's government business.
That's government business. Yep.
The act of the delivery of the basic building blocks for the foundation of human fucking existence. Oh, it's not a matter for the government. What the fuck is going on?
You know that thing that makes up 2/3 of your body? That thing? Yeah, no, that's not a matter for the government. What the fuck are you talking? Like, oh my god. It's beyond briefcase. It goes to a much more toxic place. Like, briefcase is an innocent thing by comparison to what that was. This is a betrayal. This is fucking treachery. It's disgusting. It's actually fucking gross.
So you would clearly believe that Southern Water's boss should not take his pay rise, even though, as you pointed out, it's not actually...
I don't think Southern Water has performed well enough for that kind of a pay increase to be merited. One
of the other companies, Thames Water, is in big trouble with enormous debts. They've got debts, indeed, it's been reported, of nearly £20 billion. You have the option to use powers you have and put them into special administration, effectively sort of nationalising or taking control. Is that something that you will do?
Well, it's not quite an option. There are certain circumstances that would trigger it, and it would be the High Court that would put them into it. Where the government can make sure that we're ready for that is to get the preparations done. We are working on those preparations.
So you are prepared to step in?
If it becomes necessary, we are ready.
So again, it takes the High Court. So yeah, another unelected body that no one can get rid of, that no one knows the policies of any of the people on it. Well, we probably do. They're probably Tories, let's be honest. But, like, whatever. But again, it's another unelected body full of wankers who you've completely ceded any control to.
Yeah, literally, because they think that nationalising would be too Corbyny. So they have to essentially, again, wait until somebody else tells them that it's okay. And I'm just like, everyone wants it. 80% of the country wants it. Probably 90% now.
Yeah, but does Lord Ali want it?
True.
Does Quadriga Capital want it? Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Take out that action if it becomes necessary. We're not there yet. As things stand, the company remains viable, and in any circumstance, it's important to say this, there would never be any...
There are loads of things that are viable. Why the fuck's that a good thing, though? Their viability includes pumping shite into our waters. That's not acceptable. Fucking viable, you cock. Honest to God. He's worse than your average one. Like, usually they come on and they say nothing. This guy's actually aggravating me.
It's so like honestly, I still can't get over the idea that it's not a matter for the
It's not a
government.
government.
I just-
What do you expect us to do stuff? What do you think the government is? We just sit in London and we do fuck all. We don't have any power. What do you expect us to do? Govern? Fucking crikey.
threat to the water supply that customers are receiving,
So-
but we're ready for all circumstances, including special administration, if the circumstances arise where that is necessary.
Some people, though, and we've heard it already actually from Stephen and from Matt as well, think that, you know, the fact is, in their view, this should never have been privatised as an industry. It's a sort of right for us all to have.
Outflanked to the left by fucking Matt Ford. Outflanked to the left by fucking spitting image wanker. Oh, how do you live with yourself? Like, literally, how do you not go full Roblox on yourself there? Like, really?
You just crawl into a hole and just disappear from
Yeah,
humanity.
like I couldn't live with myself. I genuinely couldn't get to sleep at night knowing I was that pathetic. I couldn't do it. I'd have to just like resign and just go and live in a fucking cave like a hermit man. Beat myself with a stick as a penitence. Penance, whatever.
Penance.
Yeah.
Clean water.
You can tell I'm a lapsed
And
Catholic, can't
when
you?
you were in Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party and you served on the front bench, you stood on manifestos of saying that water should be one of the industries that should be nationalised. So why not look at that now?
Well,
That was evil communist
nationalisation
anti-Semitism.
would cost
It was.
upwards of
It was. I didn't realise we had an outbreak of Nazism here today. Outrageous.
£100 billion that we'd have to take away from the National Health Service and schools to give to the owners.
Or you could stop lying on behalf of the industry that created that false number, and you could just take it for free. Or you could do some kind of like, look, we'll either take it for free or you get this small amount of money.
I mean, like, even when it comes to, like, specifically Thames Water, I know that there are a bunch of other ones that aren't quite as overly indebted, right? When it comes to Thames Water, they literally might collapse because they can't pay their debts. Their debts are incredibly high, and the outstripping... And the debts are so high, they outstrip the value of the assets. So the share price is essentially zero. And to say, well, you can't just nationalise this anymore, well, you can, because we literally did it with Northern Rock in 2009.
Or do what they do with football clubs and say, you're in so much debt, I'll buy it for £1. And you have to take on the debt, of course, but whatever. You've got the infrastructure, which is the point. And also,
Well,
as
like,
pointed out by Kieran Saunders, you found 80 billion a year the other day for the fucking military. So what's 100 billion one-off spend?
And you know, the debt repayments on fucking Thames Water's debts are like fucking 8%.
Jesus Christ.
You can just issue bonds as
Yeah.
a government, right? You can issue gilts, which are like a third of the fucking interest payment, and then just immediately write off the debt straight away.
Yeah.
And pay a smaller debt at a lower percentage, which means that bills don't have to go up.
Indeed. And you know what you could also do? Nationalise the sausages.
It's true. Or you could just let the companies that own Thames Water at the moment keep the debts, and you could eminent domain the actual infrastructure, which is the only real thing that matters, right?
Yeah.
They can have Thames Water all they want. That company can be incorporated, but we own all the stuff. Goodbye.
Yeah. So much like the ferry company with no ferries, they would be a water company with no water.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, I'm okay with that. Maybe they could pull themselves up by their much vaunted bootstraps.
Of the companies that have polluted
So
our
it's
rivers.
just-
Or to quote a recently dead wanker, get on your bike and look for water.
It's about cost, not about the principle.
No, that's, I mean, point one is we'd have to take money away from the NHS.
No, you wouldn't.
We've cut.
No, you wouldn't.
We've provided an extra 4 million appointments through the investment that we put into the NHS to cut waiting lists.
How many of those are ingestion of shite related? Because like they do have a knock-on effect. Again, it's the false economy of austerity. You pump shit into the waters because it's cheaper, and then everyone gets sick and has to use all of the hospitals. And of course, all of that lost productive capacity because those people aren't at work because they've got cholera.
Well, that's the thing. Literally, the whole point of the government, right? Even within like a capitalist model, even with like a laissez-faire capitalist model, literally, they believe the only role of the government is to mitigate negative externalities, and we're not even doing that.
Nope.
We're not even doing that.
Nope.
We'd have to take that away and throw it into reverse to give
No, you
the
wouldn't.
money to the people that have polluted our river.
No, you wouldn't. No, you could nationalise it. It wouldn't be a problem.
Also, we are having to give our money to the people polluting the rivers anyway,
Yeah.
because they're putting the bills up.
Yep.
So that we pay for our own infrastructure. Like yeah, and then we'll also have to pay down the debts too with increase. But like, we'll pay for it either way. At least if you nationalise it, then we can fucking own it and pay debts at a lower rate of interest.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Secondly, if we try to unpick the current model of ownership, it would take years. And during that period...
No, how would it?
What does that even mean? It would take years. It didn't take years with National Rock. You took over Chelsea in a second. The British government just became owners of Chelsea Football Club for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we nationalised like Royal Bank of Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't change much. We just became the majority shareholder.
Yeah, we could do that. But this man doesn't want to do that because that would involve governing. And him having to actually, have a backbone.
Pollution would get worse because the companies wouldn't invest knowing that they were going to be nationalised. So instead of me sitting here
you own
telling...
the company, so you do the investment.
Hang on, are you going to give them prior warning? What the fuck do you mean?
What the fuck is he talking about? This is insane.
No, we'll ring ahead to make sure they don't invest. And then
even
maybe
then,
a few years later we'll do it. No, what the fuck are you talking about? You just turn up and take it. Again, did you give prior warning to the Chinese about taking the steel mill in Scunthorpe? No, you fucking didn't. You just turned up. You can do it when you want to.
Yeah, again, the same with NatWest, Royal Bank of Scotland, Northern Rock, all those same things, right? Like, the shareholders were caught short with Northern Rock. They had to sue the government. And you know what? They lost.
Yep.
The shareholders of Northern Rock sued the government, and they were struck down.
Yep. Amazing.
And it was super easy. Like, they didn't have to give them any notice. And even if you did give them notice, you are the fucking government. You can force them to invest. You can make it the law and send them to prison if they don't. But that, again, would involve governing, which he has no interest in.
Yep.
The public that we're going to halve sewage pollution over the next 5 years. I would instead be sitting here saying we're going to play around with ownership and pollution will get far worse.
So it's not
something I want.
It's not on your list for now, and it's
Well,
clearly
it would result in worse. You were just hearing about Scottish water. They're nationalised. Pollution in rivers in Scotland is worse than in England. So of itself,
No, it isn't. What are you talking about? No, it isn't. That's literally just a massive lie. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, okay, if nationalisation is so bad, are you going to privatise the NHS then? I mean, we know you want to, but like, you can't say it, can you?
No, true.
Prick.
it's not the answer. The problem is regulation and the way that the rules are applied. We're focusing on fixing the actual problem so we can clean up our rivers, lakes and seas and get back to sensible levels of bill rises.
I mean, you are a very different party to when Jeremy
Oh,
Corbyn was in charge.
right.
But he's not even...
Sensible bill rises. That's what we want now. Not reduction in bills.
No.
It will still rise, but more sensibly.
Yeah. Adults in the room type increases in the bills.
We can't make things better, right? In sensible politics land, you can only make things get worse less quickly. And that's the thing, right?
Did someone say manage decline? Did I hear that? what, someone must have said it, I mean.
Well, what's crazy, like, somebody pointed this out to me about during the Zohran Mamdani campaign in the United States, how all the centrists kind of lost their minds, right? And somebody really made a point that I thought was it was really on the nose, in that I think a bunch of sensible centrists, like, genuinely believe that offering voters what they want is cheating.
Yeah, they literally do. Like, yeah, he offered people what they wanted to vote for. And that's just not cricket. That's just not on, okay? We will not put up with this. You're supposed to just offer the same horrible shit that everyone else does. You're making us all look bad.
And that's the thing, was that, like, we saw this, remember, that the Conservative supporters in 2017 all said this, right? It's like, oh, Jeremy Corbyn's just bribing you with free things. I'm like, well, he's offering policy that people want.
Yeah.
Like, that's politics is about offering people policies that they want to get you to vote for them. That's the whole point of elections.
Yeah. When fucking Johnson said get Brexit done, was that him bribing Conservative voters?
Yeah, no, people wanted Brexit done, So he got Brexit done. Like,
Yeah.
it's not difficult. It's
Amazing.
not cheating
Yeah.
to have policy that voters want to vote for.
Yeah. Did you tell No just as you played at Lord's this week? Well, no, because I didn't think it was particularly relevant. One of my viewers was at Lord's this week during the cricket, and they were watching me, on the
Oh, I was
phone.
there. I was watching the VOD back. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So technically, I like to think that I played at Lord's.
I think you turned the stream on and immediately saw a run out.
Yeah, there was literally like I just thought, well, I'll check out if the game's like what's going on there, and literally the first thing they saw was a run out, and I just think, you lucky American bastards, you will never know how awesome that was. The first thing you ever saw was a fucking run out.
Yeah, because you compare it to like baseball, where you just have to throw the ball at the person with the foot on the base. That's not interesting, right? Having to like shy down like a set of stumps, which if you're on the side is literally a fucking
One
like,
stump.
inch and a half wide, right? Like that's skill.
That is skill.
And
And
in
we
baseball,
saw
they're
and we
fucking
saw
catching
Chris
gloves.
Jordan. Yeah, we saw Chris Jordan take the edge as well and get out Eskenazi, or whatever however you
Nice,
pronounce his name.
nice.
Yeah, it was lovely. And then I was like, I'm getting paid to watch cricket. This is fucking dope. But I thought, if I do this every day, no one will come back. So I can't. Damn it.
And in the party anymore, but nor are 4 other MPs who were booted out this week for stirring up rebellion. When you have got so many MPs that would, probably more than would fit on a jumbo jet, why is Keir Starmer bothered about the activities of 4 MPs? One of our viewers has got in touch to say,
Because he's the adult in the room.
I mean, the irony, of course, is the opposite is true. The reason why he gets so mad about these 4 MPs and suspending them because he's an angry little man.
Yeah.
He's an angry, weak, pathetic little man who is blaming everybody else for the fact that he's shit at his job. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't lead. He can't do anything right. And the people of this country hate him. He's like, well, I'm going to take it out on some people on the backbenches for making me look bad. No. You made yourself look bad because in the 9 months prior, before the vote was happening, when the policy was announced and when it actually went to a vote in Parliament, you met your MPs a grand total of 0 fucking times, right? It is entirely your fault, Keith, that you didn't bother at least getting at least some amount of acquiescence from your backbenchers over policy you didn't even consult them on and was fucking morally depraved to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets embarrassed on the national stage in the worst way possible, and then goes, well, actually, it's just these 4 MPs' fault. We're gonna make an example of them, like a substitute teacher who's been humiliated for not knowing the subject matter and therefore takes it out on the kids. Pathetic, weak, pathetic.
Yeah. It's like a dictator that's been embarrassed and is just lashing out. And effectively,
Exactly,
he is a
yeah.
dictator when you've got a majority that big. Except, of course, he was so bad that you managed to fuck up being a dictator.
Yeah, exactly. It is dictatorship. I mean, literally, it's just doing the Stalinist purges that we were all told were going to happen under Jeremy Corbyn. That literally never happened once, right?
No.
Right? The irony, of course, when we kick the Trotskyists out, yeah, it's Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney that are acting like the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. Or, well, we have a democratic centralism now in the Labour Party, where you must agree with the elected leadership or else you get expelled and or purged,
Yeah, the glorious leader McSweeney. Chairman McSweeney. Do you know about Chairman McSweeney Thought?
The immortal science.
Yeah, exactly.
PM's so afraid he can't cope with a few critics? Does it look strong or does it look
The
weak?
thing is, we are a team. The election was only a year ago. We campaigned as a team. We won as a team.
Well,
and
you're
we
not
have
a
to
team.
govern as a team.
No. You're a government, you pricks.
And even then, you're not a team, right? You know what teams do? A team leader consults the team. They achieve consensus, right? If you impose
No.
diktat and then people who dissent get purged, then you're a totalitarian. That's not
No.
how teamwork is.
No. Famously, Alec Ferguson never once ever talked to any of his players about anything. And that's how he got all the
Literally.
success he had, by explaining nothing to any of them. Didn't tell them the tactics or who was playing. No idea. And yet they won everything. So you're clearly wrong. What a good leader does is just ignore everyone around them and hope it works.
And when it all goes to pot, where people disagree after he tells them what the
You
plan
just
is,
sack all the
9 months after
players.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah, just sack all the players,
It's
you know?
fine. Yeah, it's fine.
People are at liberty to make their point of view known. They can go to speak to me, they can speak to other ministers. People regularly
Well,
do
you know,
that,
they
but
can't
there have
speak
to
to
be
you.
limits. If you
Yeah, the ones that have literally still never met the Prime Minister.
It's literally like Brian Leishman had never, in his entire year of being an MP, met Keir Starmer.
And I suspect he's never going to. It's my thought.
I mean, to be fair, he's probably too busy with his Ukrainian friends.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He has certainly
And by
met...
that, I mean, he's on a diplomatic mission to Kyiv. That's exactly what I'm talking about on this.
No, I meant he was sucking cock.
you go too far outside the team, so you're damaging the team itself, that can't be acceptable, and no manager of any team would let an individual player get away with that kind of behaviour. So I think he sent the right signal to protect...
Except, of course, that when you were under the Jumbly Crumbly Concrete Man, you all voted against him and made violent threats about stabbing him in the front. And that was just fine. So go fuck yourselves.
Well, breaking him as a man. That's a quote from Lisa Nandy, friend of the show.
Lovely. Don't you love it? Don't you just love the rampant hypocrisy in Westminster? It's beautiful.
Protect the team. It's by doing that that we can deliver the big changes that we're seeing. You know, we've had 4 interest rate cuts that has reduced people's mortgages. We've seen wages go up more in 10 months than in 10 years under the Conservatives. We can't do that if we don't work together as a team.
4
And we
MPs
have,
out of 400 making things difficult.
Keir said we put the country before the party.
I suppose the,
we
I
have
suppose
to
the,
make that
I suppose
real.
the point is it...
What? I'm sorry. I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm. Yeah, he did say put country before party, and he's literally doing the opposite.
Literally
right?
the opposite of that, yes.
The people putting country before party were the MPs who were sticking up for the disabled people, because the manifesto was to pledge to keep the disabled at the heart of everything that they do and to listen to their concerns, which is the literal opposite of what fucking Keith tried to do by sending them into the wood chipper, by putting hundreds of thousands of them into poverty. Like the only person putting party over country is fucking Keir Starmer. He's not even putting his party over the country. He's putting himself over the country. He's putting McSweeney over the country. I'm going to lose my mind, chat.
Well, you know what I'm going to lose? The roof over my head if I don't earn any money. So you can help. That's a guilt trip and a half. Do you want to make me homeless, chat? Really? No, I'm joking. Yeah, you can help out either No Justice and I in the form of either bits messages, super chats, memberships, subscriptions, and or travellers checks. Is that still a thing? I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. But yeah.
Is yet another sign, whether it's big or small, that all has not been well for the Labour Party. And the people who are smiling about that, Nigel Farage's party, Reform UK, have been grinning away.
He really does look like a frog. Like, I know it's a silly joke or whatever, but like, he actually does look like an amphibian.
It's so true.
He doesn't look like a human male Mr. Boy. He doesn't. He's like, the alien space lizards usually get better tailored people suits than this creature did.
He smiles ear to ear. We're about to talk to him in a few seconds about your woes. They've been ahead of you consistently in the polls for some months now. When do you reckon you've got a chance of beating Reform in the polls?
I think with the current state of opinion polls reflect people's disenchantment with politics, and I'm not at all surprised, because we just had 14 years where people were promised so much, and all of those promises were broken through austerity.
Whereas you've never made any promises you broke, have you, Labour Party?
Definitely. Keir Starmer, famous for not breaking his pledges, right? That if there's one thing you can, I mean, and you know what? The public absolutely agree. At no point have the public ever overwhelmingly described Keir Starmer as a liar. That's never happened.
It's never happened. And there was a great poll about this exact fucking topic, and I do hope I bookmarked it. There we go. Boom shakalaka. Right. Asked about the reasons why they feel disgruntled with Keir Starmer. Poll, why have people abandoned Labour? Literally, the number one, by far, broken promises.
Yes, because he's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
One might say a proven and morally corrupt serial liar.
Yeah. Also, too right wing, quite high up there.
Literally, just everyone's telling him that we don't like it when you throw the disabled people to the fucking lions and try and freeze Granny or, armour genocide.
Yeah.
Right?
These are not things that Labour voters traditionally have been massively in favour of. Yeah. So, but you haven't. The people are sick of broken promises, which is why the Labour Party don't break promises. Except when a third of the public say you've broken fucking promises, you pricks.
And also, I said armour genocide, also trainer genocide as well.
Yeah. And, well, not just that, but do spy flights for them. Allow continued Israeli military planes to go to RAF bases and not explain to anybody why they're going there. That's a bit weird.
Through Brexit, after the pandemic, Build Back Better, none of it actually happened. The public want to see the change they voted for become real. So I'm sitting here today talking about how we're going to reduce sewage pollution in our waterways. It was a big issue in the general election. We'll halve it over 5 years, but each year between now and then, people will see change. We've already, wages have gone up more in 10 months than in 10 years under the Tories. We've provided 4 million additional appointments in the NHS, which is cutting waiting lists. 30,000 people who had no right to be here have been returned. This government is making change for this country, but it takes time for that to feed through. I'm proud of what we're doing. I'm proud of this government, and the British public will see the change they voted for over the coming months and years.
Well, no, they won't.
Yeah, they will. They definitely will. You've just got to wait for it. Honest.
To be fair, the change they voted for literally was a change in the colour of Rosette. Yeah. That's all the change they actually voted for, because the manifesto was paper thin and all the pledges from the leadership campaign have all been broken. So they just wanted anything else, right?
Yeah.
And we go, well, we have changed the colour of the ties. And you say you haven't got the change you wanted. How dare you?
Exactly. Look. There's a reason that Baldrick didn't offer you a specific type of change. He just said change.
Your time this morning. It's good to have you with us in the studio.
It's not an issue. You're right, Solly. It's not.
Coming in. Well, Labour certainly does feel the pressure from Reform UK. Reform has had enormous success this year at the local elections, and as we've just been discussing, they've been ahead in the polls consistently since April. They've been scaring the Conservatives too, gobbling up voters.
Okay, that's a weird three-way. Just saying.
On the right, with some Tories calling for some kind of pact between the two parties. The leadership of Reform and the Tories both seem, allergic to that suggestion, but Reform says its membership now stands at over 200,000. But the party's lost...
Not a fucking chance. Not a chance.
2 of their 5 MPs recently, and life, maybe isn't that straightforward in the 10 councils they won control of either. But Nigel Farage is with us this morning. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thankfully, the Farage Broadcasting Corporation is back in business, everybody. Let's go. Woo! I love paying a TV licence for this man to have the soapbox every fucking fortnight. Fantastic.
I love it. It's great. Isn't it really good? The guy who deliberately spread misinformation, or tried to not deny the existence of misinformation during actual pogrom riots.
Yeah, just doing a cheeky little stirring up a race riot.
But you're fanning some flames.
That's fine. It's fine.
Industry.
And literally said that he was quoting Andrew Tate, the rapist and alleged trafficker of young girls, of course, as well. Which is again very interesting that you'd quote that person during a race riot. Just saying.
You say you would want it 50% under government control, along with all utilities. How much would it cost to have 50% of the water industry under public ownership?
That depends what deal you do with the private sector investors. I mean, we are in a hell of a mess with this. An increase of the population by 10 million has left us completely incapable of coping. Companies
it's always about immigration. Always.
And again, the private companies haven't built a new reservoir since 1992.
But it's the immigration.
The 10 million migrants, this precedes the 10 million migrants.
But have you considered migrants? Have you considered that? Because that's literally the only thing he wants to talk
capitalism? Why blame capitalism and Thatcherism when we can blame brown people for everything?
about. Yeah, no, there's some foreigners in that.
Stubs my toe, fucking bloody foreigners.
Yeah.
Badly run. I think we know all of that. We would look for private sector investment. The government can be a partner. It's all about what deal you strike, isn't it? And I mean, this is, to some extent, you know, what we're saying across the board is we need more people running government with genuine business experience.
But the business
No, we don't.
I mean, again, we had fucking
don't.
14 years of business bellends and the Tories in government, and they were the shittest government ever.
Yeah. You're just a banker. That's not even proper business.
A commodities broker. That he bought shit and then resold. It's a fucking ticket tout.
Yeah.
That's all a commodities broker is.
Yeah, it's a ticket out, yeah. That's actually a very good description.
experience, and people who've looked at this carefully, DEFRA and Ofwat, the regulators, say that the cost of nationalisation... No, forget. Let me ask you this question. The estimate of the cost of nationalisation is £99 billion. So would you be willing to spend £50 billion of taxpayers' money to take water into national control?
I'm sorry. DEFRA and Ofwat are part of the problem. Everybody thinks the same. It's public sector thinking. We need private sector innovation. We need to become...
What the fuck are you talking about? What is he talking about now? I don't even know his fucking position anymore. What is this? We're going to take it into public ownership, but we're not going to have public thinking or something? What?
No, but the whole point is that the private sector obsession with profit rather than for social utility is literally the entire is the basis of the entire problem with the water industry. Is that these people who only care about profit because they care about business and private sector thinking have focused on that rather than the actual delivery of the water, or of the keeping the water clean, or of keeping bills low, or anything or investing in infrastructure. That's because they've been chasing profit, Nigel.
Yep.
That's the private sector thinking that we want out of the industry.
Coming into politics, doing things from outside the normal
But how
political
much
sphere.
taxpayers' money would you be prepared to spend to take half of the water industry into public control? That's the question.
Well, one thing we must not do is bail out any existing bondholders or shareholders. That absolutely has to be part of the deal.
So
They have
shareholders
to
would
go
be
bust.
expected to give the companies to the government and the taxpayer for free without being compensated.
If we live, we got all this wrong back in 2008. We bailed out everybody at a massive, massive cost. You know, if you or I invest money in a company and the company goes bust, you deserve to lose your money. That's the starting point for all of this.
But if the companies are up and running, as they are, companies aren't going bust at the moment, your policy, reforms plan, is to take over half of the water industry.
Because this is critical.
And what I'm asking you is how much of our viewers' money you would be prepared to spend on that, because the credible estimate is it would be about £50 billion.
Well, I think...
Credible. The credible estimate.
Yeah, the very, very credible private sector fudge study that was deliberately done to put off anyone nationalising it.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot less than that if you strike the right deal.
How much?
I don't know. I haven't sat in the negotiations. But
He's literally trying to do the Trump thing. We'll just cut a deal. It'd be really good, honest. Just trust me.
Also, the best deal you've ever seen for the nationalisation. It's the best you've seen. Yeah, literally, it's Trump. He's just Trump.
a completely different mindset is needed.
So you don't know how much it would be in any ballpark? 1 billion, 10 billion?
Of course not. We don't know what negotiations we're going to have. But it doesn't need to be a big sum of money if you incentivise private capital to come in and do the job properly.
But private capital runs it
Jesus
at the
Christ.
moment, and they haven't
The wrong,
invested
yeah,
enough.
of course. Listen.
But the
all
wrong
sorts
kind
people
of capitalist is in there now. I'll find the brand new awesome capitalist who'll do the good things. Honest. You know, that kind of capitalist that definitely exists, that cares about people.
businesses and fail. There are more business failures than there are successes. This model hasn't worked. Let's get some new people in. And I tell you what, the money will come.
You know, I agree with him to an extent. The model hasn't worked, so let's stop doing that model.
And you think it's just
Let's do
so fucking...
a socialism instead then. Yeah.
This reminds me, during the 2017 and 2019 elections, people kept saying, "Oh well, Corbyn wants to take us back to 1990. Well, wants to take us back to the 1970s. There's no new ideas. It's just rehashing old things. Why can't we do anything new?" And I'm like, why do we need to fucking reinvent the wheel here?
Yeah.
We had an old system of regional water boards which worked.
Yeah.
People got water, there was no shit in the rivers, we built the infrastructure that was necessary, not a problem. That was a system that worked. We then privatized them for no reason, and it's been shit ever since.
Yeah.
Why try and reinvent the wheel? 50% this, 50% that, private mines and public ownership. No, just do the fucking thing that we used to do that was good and that worked, that we stopped doing for no reason. Why does it need to be new? Why does it need to be innovative? Just do the thing that we know works. It's like people trying to reinvent trains with like pods or the loop. No, just build a fucking train.
Yeah, they always end up with basically a train but shitter.
Yeah, like a train, like pods. Like,
Yeah.
let's take a train and separate all of the cars and add extra engines and extra drivers for no reason.
And then just to make the point, we'll do our tests of it on pre-existing train track. Because you've
Also,
got a
it's a good point
train.
Well, it's a good point from Jack, and it's not taxpayers' money. It would most likely be bonds, which come, or even new money, which would just come directly from the Bank of England.
You want to nationalise it, you want it in public ownership, but you can't put a price tag on that yet. It's interesting you say that, because when Jeremy Corbyn used to argue...
It used to be called public-private partnership.
Well,
back
well,
in the
when-
days of Blair.
well, when-
we need to update that significantly.
When Jeremy Corbyn talked about nationalising water, you used to say his economics were from La La Land. So
Yeah.
why is your
I
proposal
do
not
not
from La
want.
La Land?
Look, we have conservative.
Hello,
Labour governments
Helldiver.
who can't even build a railway. You know. So do we want government running these things? No. But does the state need to get some degree?
I'm gonna lose my mind! Oh my god, the whole reason we couldn't build a railway is because it was done through fucking private sector contractors.
Yep.
The government are not the problem here. It is the fucking myriad private sector contractors that were shit, that kept delivering shit because they knew they got guaranteed money
Well,
because it was a government contract.
time
if
out.
it just if a state fucking body was doing it, it would. Oh my god.
Well, time out. I will say the government is the problem, but the government is the problem in precisely the same way that Nigel Farage wants it to happen.
True.
In that it's the government which doesn't believe in doing anything, and so it's just going to farm shit out to private companies and hope that works, and then it won't. So it is the government at the source of the problem. It's just that the government seemingly has not wanted to govern for a long time, and Nigel Farage is going to continue to do that.
That's true, right? That is true. Like,
Yeah.
if Nigel Farage's problem with the government is that it doesn't do any governing, so rather than them subcontracting the private sector, it's just let the private sector do it instead. Well, it would be just as shit, but without the intermediary of the state bollocking up as well. Whereas you should just have a state that's good and does things itself.
Yes.
Which, of course, is the synthesis of all of these problems.
Incorrect.
Degree of control over vital national assets. Yes.
It's interesting because your traditional reputation is you want a smaller state, you want lower taxes, you're some politician of the right, but you are pushing for some very big increases in spending.
No, but I'm pushing for some massive cuts in spending. Get rid of the net zero agenda. Even the OBR,
Net stupid
which is a
zero.
sort of tool of the establishment, estimates the cost of that at £30 billion every year.
How are you not the establishment? Can I ask that? A man who's been given the biggest platform ever was literally a fucking wanker banker, fucking commodity fucking dribbler, right? Who's in Parliament, who's currently leading in the polls and is being given ridiculously positive coverage in all the right-wing press.
And huge amounts of money from massive corporations.
Yeah. And you're like...
Potentially from the richest man in the world.
Yeah, and you're literally riding the dung of the current American president. How are you not the establishment? Please tell me.
We've highlighted the money the Bank of England wastes every year. Again, tens of billions over the QE programme. We've talked about saving huge amounts of money on HS2.
Well,
so no is the answer.
Well, let's talk about some of the specifics because times have changed a lot and your party is now in charge of billions of pounds through the councils that you run in England after your big successes in May. So there are decisions now that politicians in your party are making that we can look at carefully.
His
A
neck
19-year-old
bloats
in
out
your
like a fucking frog as well. When he dips his chin at all, it's literally like, you know that frog that does the brrr, and its neck like to scare predators or whatever? It's like that.
He's now the leader of Warwickshire Council in charge of a budget of £500 million. He wants to spend £190,000 on hiring political assistants. Is that a good use of taxpayers' money?
Well, at the moment, we're finding that we're very, very hamstrung. We're going into existing administrations. We're facing obstructionism in many places. And
No, what you're facing is the legal barriers that councils have to operate under, and you don't like it because you want it to be your little personal fiefdom where your 19-year-old jumped up Hitleroids get to go in there and just kick out all the migrants as if that's the council's job.
They get in, realise they can't just do Doge. They can't just do get rid of the net stupid zero and the pride flags. They have to do the hard yards of having to deal with adult social care and temporary accommodation, which is like 80% of every council budget in the country.
Yeah, literally.
And the reality is that people don't want homeless people, right? Homeless people don't want to be homeless, and the council, the people who live in the local authority, don't want there to be homeless people everywhere. So temporary accommodation, really fucking important part of your job. If
Yep.
you cut that shit, people will be very angry.
Yeah.
Warwickshire, a very, very good example. The CEO willfully defying what we want to do there.
Right, and again, I would hazard a guess, I don't know exactly, I would hazard a guess he wants to, I don't know, set up Gatling guns in Dover or something, right? And then it's been pointed out to them that you're the local council for Warwickshire. And you can't just do random, weird, fucking dumb shit. You're a council. You deal with housing, you deal with adult social care, you deal with child protection. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, it's really...
Sometimes
like,
you build a new skate park.
Yeah,
Like,
you cut a ribbon on a new thing for a photo op, and that's about it, right? Like, there's nothing sexy about the subcommittee on procurements. But you have to. That's what the fucking hard yards of being a council is. It's not pleasant. It's not sexy, but that's how you run a proper government.
really.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is. Yeah. And then the really hard-working ones are the ones that get swept away in the tide of national politics. It can be a really good Labour councillor who works fucking really hard and diligent and all the rest of it, and Keir Starmer comes out and says, "Oh fuck it, let's kill disabled people," and everyone hates Labour now, and so that councillor gets swept away at the elections. It's really unfair. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to say it, there are probably like plenty of decent, hard-working Tory councillors out there.
Probably,
who must have
yeah.
just got, you must have got like all of the hard work they've done completely undermined by Liz Truss being the dumb, stupid bellend that she is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, almost certainly. And again, just on so many levels. I mean, this is why I think it was so good that so many councillors have been just leaving the Labour Party in droves and standing as independents. Like, why would you be tied to that shit? Why would you bear the cross?
I don't
Right?
know.
So, does this guy, George Finch, does he need some professional political figures around him? You bet your life he does.
But that-
I mean, this is going to be a
It
very...
would help if he had pubes as well, I think. Like, he's a child. He's literally should be doing his fucking A-levels, mate. No, like, you can be a young person and be good, but he's too fucking young for this position. Obviously.
I mean, I feel like because he votes Reform, because he's a Reform councillor, rather, I just don't trust him. Because, why? How many young people who vote Reform are trustworthy?
Oh,
right?
God, yeah, no, not at all, no. Couldn't you just, sniff glue and have an overdose instead, mate?
Although what's funny with the votes at 16 stuff, it's like, well, young kids are very impressionable. They'll vote for Corbyn or the Green Party because they promise nonsense. I'm like, weird how you are commenting on the impressionability of people being kind of snared by a political party because of the policy they offer. You're completely silent on the idea that there might be a huge legion of young people who vote Reform just because they watched Nigel Farage go big skibbity chungus riz hock tour on that bussy.
Yeah.
Isn't that the real problem here? And of course, all beside the fact that there's a huge legion of voters who vote for Reform because they saw memes on Facebook that made up the idea that Muslimics were coming to cancel the flag.
Yeah. Or literally, the biggest change in recent political history, the earthquake that was Brexit, was brought about because people believed they wanted to have straight bananas. Oh. Like, it's embarrassing. It's really silly. I was saying that I was on Normal Island on Friday, and we talked about this, and it's just the idea that these fucking idiots. Like the guy who, Mike Graham, the guy who was going on about growing concrete, wants everyone else to think that 16 and 17-year-olds aren't informed enough.
Exactly, like Julia Hartley-Brewer saying this, or they're going to be manipulated. I'm like, your literal job is to fucking spew bullshit for an Australian billionaire oligarch, right? To try and fearmonger and scaremonger like reactionary Facebook boomers into voting to destroy the country.
Yeah, unbelievable shit. And honestly, Julia Hartley-Brewer, for me, is a real good litmus test for public policy. If she likes it, do the opposite.
Literally.
Because she's wrong
the
about
opposite of what she
fucking
says,
everything. And so the fact that this annoys her, fuck it, give votes to 12-year-olds instead.
She's just the most vile, nasty person in the country. She's so
gross.
awful.
Yeah.
Very big battle against the existing bureaucracies that exist in these councils who've been running bad practice for years.
So your answer is
we've
to
got a
take
fight on our
on
hands.
more staff. You know, you want to cut costs, but your answer in that particular
it's better to
council
have
is
staff.
to take on more staff and spend nearly another 200.
Technically, Doge doesn't mean cuts necessarily, but I know the point you're making. Government efficiency could mean spending more money. In fact, I would argue it sort of does.
£1,000 of council taxpayers' money.
Better to have staff who support the will of the democratically elected councillors than it is to have public sector staff opposing you.
But you think that is then a model for what will happen in reform councils around the country? You'll take on more staff, costing more?
I think Warwickshire is the worst example of obstructionism that we face. There are other councils where we're working reasonably well with the existing administrations.
What do you actually mean by that, obstructionism? What do you mean, the chief executive refusing to...
They don't want to show us the books. We ask, where's the money being spent? Can we see the credit card statements? And we find genuine, deliberate obstructionism.
Well, let's look at another council, Staffordshire. Your team that's meant to go in and hunt for savings, sort of model on Elon Musk's Doge efficiency team. Staffordshire Council says they've received no request or notification of the audit. Essentially, your team that's meant to be looking for savings hasn't turned up yet, even though you're They haven't turned up.
No, there were 13 of them for us to go around. You'll find in West Northamptonshire...
What was funny, right? What was funny is that they calculated the amount of money that theoretically could be saved by Doge, and it's less than the amount extra that local authorities are having to spend across the country to rerun elections of reform councillors that have had to step down for all of the reasons, like they were fired, or they didn't realise they weren't eligible, or they realised they didn't want to do it. And...
Yeah. Also, 190 grand. It didn't even clip in my head because I'm from a larger council district, right? Birmingham's got big budgets. It's got the biggest, I think the biggest individual education council in Europe. Because most big cities like London and Paris have them all separated into different boroughs and stuff, whereas we do a unitary thing. But 190 grand for Warwickshire County Council, because like no one fucking lives in Warwickshire. The big town there is Warwick, which mostly is a big park and the ruins of an old castle. No one fucking lives there. So 190 grand is not that's not an insubstantial amount of money to piss up the wall on hiring your fucking mates. Because that's what's going to happen. He's going to hire his mates, his 19-year-old mates, to
just
go
rorting the fucking electorate in the LA, just to throw public money into the private coffers. Again, just like James McMurdoch allegedly might have done.
Yeah, mad.
Again, just another instance of these small government conservatives being on the take, allegedly, from the state. You know, again, what's trashy if you're poor, but classy if you're rich? Taking money from the fucking government.
True.
And also, I just want to answer a question in chat. Someone asking about the timescale of the new party. We do not know.
Well, yeah, but I mean, either way, regardless of when it does start, it started too late.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But the fact that its polling is significant, even whilst it being a hypothetical party, is pretty impressive.
It is incredibly impressive, and Corbyn retains a very significant personal following in the country. Even with all of the shit being spewed against him over the course of fucking a decade now, you know, he's a very popular guy, much more popular than fucking Nigel Farage or Starmer or whoever the Tory leader is this week. I don't know who she is. It needed to have started at the start of the fucking Parliament though. You've wasted a year doing fuck all. Not literally fuck all, because they've been MPs as well, but like. As national figures, you've been nowhere.
Yep.
Just saved £1 million renegotiating an IT contract. Just one little example of what we can do. Bear in mind, we're not the Labour Party. We haven't got hundreds of staff. You know, we're a party that's been really active for just over a year. We're growing in size. Yes, we have a Doge team. They've not been everywhere yet, but you've seen already, you know, us highlighting examples.
Hang on. So you can't even get a Doge team for like the 5 councils you run.
Where's all that money that you've gotten for those petrochemical billionaires?
Yeah.
Have you pissed this up the wall already?
And there's supposedly 200,000 fee-paying members you have that are definitely real.
Extravagant expenditure.
Well, you've seen already also in Warwickshire, we've just discussed somebody wanting £200,000 on extra staff because they don't have the ideas themselves.
Once he's got the right staff, we can make some real savings.
We've also seen decisions
But spend money
like
to
in
make money,
Lincolnshire,
Jack.
for example.
Absolute nonsense. He knows it's bullshit, and he doesn't care ultimately.
Of
Because
course
he's not.
not,
Because
of course not.
is it just me, or is he maybe not the populist he claimed to be? Now he's got a sniff of power in his nostrils. All of a sudden, you can see the pound signs.
Example where the council's got rid of the flood committee, except there have been floods.
Does the people of Texas notice a pattern here? Conservative, small government people get in, pretend like floods aren't a big issue, then everyone drowns. What a surprise! Who could have seen this coming?
Yeah, like it's really honestly it's pretty impressive just how committed Elon Musk is to killing children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, not only is he very happy to cut all of the things that provide vaccines and shit to people in the global south, potentially killing hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people, right? So he literally has the blood of millions of kids on his hands, right? It's impressive that Elon Musk might have killed more children than Benjamin Netanyahu, right?
That is impressive.
And then on top of this,
I think he
right?
just wants. I think he just wants all of the children in the world to be his. Just,
Yeah,
or they're
exactly.
all called something XYZ Musk, except that one, obviously.
Yeah. And then on top of this, he's also been able to kill a bunch of kids in Texas as well. Just
Yeah.
impressive levels of infanticide.
Yeah, no, he's a very evil person. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
makes shit
monster.
cars.
Well, who says the flood committee would do any good? I mean, there is this assumption that you appoint.
Well, it's better to have something than nothing, surely. Like, if literally no one's looking at the flood, how can it be stopped? Well, I mean, yeah, the flood committee might not help. It's true. People are fallible. But just ignoring the problem is guaranteed to fail. You are a fucking idiot. You are an actual idiot.
Committees, you launch inquiries, you do all these things, and they actually lead to any results. And we saw no evidence of that.
Right, because you're an idiot. You're looking for evidence of a thing that isn't there. A successful flood committee would stop flooding. Or at least stop the bad effects of flooding. So you're looking for a thing that isn't there. Because they've done their job.
Oh, no, but the free market will deal with the flooding.
Oh, definitely. It did in Texas, didn't it? Yeah. Absolutely wonderful work.
Also, thank you, Rachel Atwood, for the $2. It's been 5 years ago today that we lost Michael Brooks. Well, that is tragic.
That is tragic.
How's it been 5 years?
Mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Bloody hell.
R.I.P. to a good one. Legend.
Absolute legend.
In Lincolnshire at all.
So you saw no evidence that having a flood committee to try to protect the citizens of that county
I think
from
you'll find
floods.
I think you'll find that Dame Andrea Jenkins, who was the mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, thinks actually she'd be better off with some civil engineers rather than people placed on a committee who've got no knowledge of the subject at all.
They had no knowledge of flooding.
Nowhere
the
near
floods
enough.
committee.
Not as much.
Nowhere near. Oh, that changed very quickly from no knowledge whatsoever to nowhere near enough. Who's judging that? Is that you, Nigel Farage, the man who has literally no knowledge of flooding whatsoever? Who's making that assessment?
It's just fucking hilarious. I mean, to be fair, that is one of the very few like instances of journalism that we've seen today, where she just
Yeah.
goes like, "Yeah, so hang on a minute. So the flood committee have no knowledge of flooding, do they, Nigel?" Just like asking him like he's a fucking idiot, because he is obviously one.
Yeah.
Engineers.
What about Scarborough Town Council, which has
I've
given
no
their
idea.
Well, I can tell you.
no
Well,
idea.
I can tell you what's happened there, and I can ask you whether you think this is the
So
right.
you can tell something really bad's coming because he's doing his squeezing out a shit face. which is where he like pinches up his face like he's trying to crimp off a turd. That's really struggling, and he does this whenever there's bad news, and he pretends to be laughing.
Thing to do. Scarborough Town Council has given its reform mayor a 600% pay
I
rise.
have no idea.
You don't know?
Whether what you
Well, that's interesting. You know a lot about Warwickshire, but not about Scarborough. Why is that? Why don't you know about that one? That's interesting, isn't it, Nige?
say is true or not, I have no idea.
So is that the right thing to do in principle?
I have no idea. It's a town council, 600%. What's it from sort of?
It's a small amount, so a payment of £500 up to £3,500, which I know
Well,
you're
I don't
going.
know. I don't know.
It's literally doing it's doing the Trump thing. I don't know. I've never heard of this person. I don't know anything about this place. Just deny and deflect. He is Trump, except he's not even as like funny as Trump.
No,
Because
exactly
Trump would have
like...
said something hilariously racist by now, and he hasn't. And that's
Yeah, it's
disappointing.
true.
I don't know. Is he doing it or she doing it as a full-time job? I've no idea.
But in principle, is that the right thing to do?
I know what we could do is just get multimillionaires to stand as candidates everywhere.
Yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? If they could do that, why don't they? What are you talking about? Yeah, okay, well, let's get elephants to do it.
I mean,
If we can just make our own rules and our own imagination land up. Fucking hell.
Honestly, it reminds me of the interview from the Reform councillor who literally didn't have any answers for any of the questions. Just said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
Don't know.
I don't know what's going on there. Maybe we could get Elon Musk to stand. Maybe we could just get rid of councils. Just get rid of all councils. Save a lot of money. Yeah.
Literally, no local authorities whatsoever.
Ooh.
Free market will
indeed.
sort it.
Yeah, I'm setting up a new thing in Lincolnshire called Ancapistan. It's going to be awesome.
Indeed, our Doge team are doing the work unpaid, right?
Not doing it very efficiently if they're not getting around to all of these places, are they? You've had a while now.
If people have got resources and want to do it for free, that's great. I don't know the Scarborough circumstances.
Okay.
But you knew about the story, clearly, because when you asked about it, you did your stupid face. So why didn't you look into it before the show? It's almost like you're a liar. And that all of your people...
Or you don't care.
Or that you don't care. But it's mainly the lying, I think. And that your party is filled with grubby little politician pieces of shit, just like all the other parties. And that you're not the fantastic populist that you claim to be.
No.
That's the problem. When you just accept all of the Tory waifs and strays, don't be surprised when they act like Tories. Because they're just Tories.
You mentioned Dame Andrea Jenkins, who's now one of your elected mayors.
Again, talking of Tory waifs and strays, of course.
Right on cue.
She said this week she doesn't believe that climate change exists. Do you believe in
Of course, because she's a fucking mentalist. Yeah, we know. We know she's a wrong un.
man-made climate change?
Well, they're two separate questions.
Or do you believe in man-made climate change?
Well, do I believe there's climate change? Yes. Does man have an influence? Impossible to think we haven't got some influence. As to what proportion it is, I've no idea.
But
Well, yeah.
So let's
maybe,
just do nothing then.
Okay, I mean, Nigel, you know what? Fair enough. You don't know. You don't have any kind of qualifications in environmental sciences whatsoever. Fair enough. Neither do I. Why don't we look at
Neither does
the
Dame Andrea
overwhelming-
Jenkins.
Yes, true. Why don't we look at the overwhelming consensus of environmental scientists who do know what the answer to this question is, and they say yes.
Yeah, but they're
Do-
communists.
Yeah.
And
the
Hamas.
WEF. The WEF.
They're Hamas and
It's George Soros.
communists and yeah. So fact.
as a simple question of
No,
principle,
I know.
do you believe in
This is
man-made
not my
climate
religion.
change?
This is not my religion. I know it's the religion in Westminster now in a fairly godless age.
What the fuck are you talking? He's just a drunk bloke in the pub. And we need to treat him in the way that you treat that drunk bloke. You just go, "Oh, that's interesting, mate. You enjoy your evening," and then you walk away. Because I don't want to listen to this fucking knobhead talk shit. Like I don't want to get
true.
stuck with this lunatic. So I'm just going to go, "Yeah, I'm just going for a piss, mate," and then you walk to the other side of the pub, or you just leave. Like, That's how we need to politically deal with Nigel Farage. Just ignore him. It's the same with Trump. Stop giving him the oxygen they need. They need publicity. Stop it.
It's not my religion. The real point about it is, are we going to de-industrialize Britain? There are 2.5 million.
What do you mean, are we
jobs.
going to? We already have. We've got no fucking industry. What are you talking about?
Well, the whole point of the net zero plan is that we re-industrialize by becoming a quote-unquote world leader in green technology. Now, I don't think that will happen because we're too reliant now on a private sector because of the changing plans since they scrapped the 28 billion, but at the very least, as a goal, Ed Miliband is one of the people I actually probably believe to be sincere about his desires to do good, to change the world for the better. It's very rare nowadays in this current Labour Party, right? But I think that's true. But that's the whole point, is that you do this investment to ensure that these jobs come back for green manufacturing. That's the whole point, is that we want to build, is that the country wants to have more job investment in the left behind areas, and you can do that through green energy.
Yep.
Left in Britain that are under threat and could be gone within the next decade unless we change direction, and that particularly relates to energy policy.
And indeed there are billions of pounds worth of public policy decisions that depend on whether or not people believe the science and they believe in the kind of steps that people should be taken. But the science suggests very strongly, thousands of scientists would say this, the consensus is absolutely clear that man's activity has a significant impact on the climate.
Well, say it does.
And you have a senior figure in your party saying she doesn't believe in it.
Well, is that...
Okay, so what's the argument? Say it does. Let's do nothing about it. Let's just accept the inevitable and speed towards the cliff edge.
Actually, you know what he's going to say? Why should we care when India and China?
Yeah.
The same argument of well, the other kid doesn't do it, doesn't change their behaviour, so why should I?
Yeah.
Literally.
Sufficient reason to defraud British taxpayers of billions of pounds every year, which is what we're doing in subsidising wind energy and solar energy for literally
but that means the energy is
effect.
cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, it literally does. That's, yeah. I don't know. Jesus Christ. I don't even know what he thinks that argument is. Yeah, if the energy gets cheaper, isn't that the point of what the government should be doing with energy policy?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
On global CO2 emissions. The same goes for closing our steel plants and moving the production to India. We've got ourselves stuck in this mindset. We believe that man has an influence on changing the climate. I didn't deny that. I think man does.
So you do, because it's an important
I just said a minute ago.
principle.
It's impossible to think that 7 or 8 billion people can't have some effect. But whether that's a reason to transfer.
You see what he's done there?
What?
See what he's done there? Well, it's the people that are having the effect. I think you'll find it's the petrochemical industry that's having that effect, Nigel. But you want to blame the 5 billion browns, right?
Yeah. Also, does he think that climate change is just happening because of Britain? It doesn't matter if the brown people are here or elsewhere, really. Like, if they're in France, they don't stop producing carbon.
Well, exactly, but the fact that he's trying to get you to think that we're eco-fascio or population Malthusian shit, rather than the petrochemical industry's desire to destroy the world for profit, because of course he can't admit that because those are the people who line his pockets.
Yeah, because he's literally a little bitch, a little cock bitch to the petrochemicals industry. Yeah.
Manufacturing to other parts of the world, whether that's a reason to have the most expensive energy prices for industry in the world and to make the poor poorer in society for almost no benefit
But
whatsoever.
that's not true.
I doubt.
Because because the countries in Europe that have a higher mix of renewables than we do have cheaper bills and cheaper energy costs than we do, right?
Yep.
We are the ones who have it expensive because we didn't decarbonize enough and we're overexposed to international energy markets.
True.
Plenty of people would disagree. In fact, people maybe watching this
they're
program
paying
who
the
work
bills.
in green energy, who maybe weren't making,
Yeah, but what
doing
about
these
those that
kinds
have
of
lost their jobs? What about those that have lost their jobs in traditional industries and those that are threatened? We are going to need huge amounts of...
Yeah, what are you going to do about that? Yeah, what about those people? You tell me, you want to be Prime Minister. What are you going to do? Don't just go, what about them? Yeah, no, I ask you that. I ask what about them and you give me a fucking policy.
steel. for example, over the next few years. We're going to need vast amounts of copper wire over the next few years. We're just not making this stuff here anymore. And we haven't actually helped reduce global...
Okay, time out. This is where you have to get, like, synoptic or whatever about this now. Right, Nigel, you believe in the Doge thing, right? So you want government efficiency. You don't want people spending unnecessarily. Producing copper in the UK is way more expensive. Like, ridiculously more expensive. In the same way that producing coal was way more expensive than just importing it from China and India, right? So how are you possibly going to marry up absolute government efficiency with subsidising the hugely expensive way in which we do, or because you have to pay wages here rather than having slave labour, I suppose, the amount of cost it takes to produce steel, copper, anything. Basically anything in Britain's going to be more expensive than you can get it in Vietnam.
Well, that's one thing. The difference, I think, when it comes to, like, you're right, with loads of these things, is absolutely true. You know, because especially when we have a strong currency, which means that actually it becomes really cheap for us to import from other countries with weaker currencies. You know, but it makes it difficult for us to be an exporter of these things. Like the wealth that we have generated and the strength of our economy means that manufacturing is more difficult. Actually, I was going to do a big rant about this at some point. I'll do a mini rant now. It's not really a rant, but like, just. There's this myth of re-industrialization that believes that we can go back to the kind of industry that we had in the 1970s, and that's just not going to happen. In a world where sterling and the dollar as well are just massively strong compared to, like, all the consumer currencies around the world, like, we're not going to export to these people. They can't afford to buy our shit, and we couldn't afford to pay our workers what it's worth, right? And even then, even if we did bend manufacturing that we could export, which would be high-tech manufacturing, that's mostly automated nowadays. So you wouldn't get the kind of production line jobs that we had, that the industrial proletariat of the 60s and 70s would be able to do. The kind of jobs that the manly men that Barry Weiss fucking talks about, or Batshya Ungar Sargon, whatever her name is, that think that we've lost our way in terms of creating masculine men or whatever because of the jobs have all gone. Those wouldn't come back either, because the jobs that the automated factories now create are for highly technical, highly skilled people with lots of qualifications to be able to operate, and a lot of these things are technical in the computing sense, and which require a degree for. So if we do want to bring manufacturing back to this country, which I would be happy to do more of that, it's going to be high tech, high cost, highly specialized manufacturing, and not production line industry, which is the world that our kind of the boomer cohort that Farage belonged to believe is the same case, when it just is not. It just isn't.
You mean they're not going to open up the coal pits again?
Well, exactly. Like, they're not going to do that. We're not going to be making. We're not going to have sweatshops, because again, the kind of cheap shit that industrial factory production would want to sell, we could not sell at a profit internationally.
No,
because other people could not afford to buy it.
Yeah, China can produce it at pennies to the pound.
Exactly.
India, Vietnam, Indonesia, they can produce this shit at a fraction, a tiny fraction of the cost.
Like, we can barely compete in this area on the thing that Europe is supposedly good at manufacturing, which is cars.
Yeah.
Like, China already outcompete us on car production, especially electric cars, because they own all the lithium mines in fucking the Congo, right? So the reality is that we want to be producing things like microchips and the technological things of the future, which can be highly specialized, where no one can, where the jobs market so internationally competitive that we can't be outcompeted by sweatshops for this stuff, right?
Yeah. And you know how they got access to those mines? It wasn't just with rapacious imperialism. They built some roads and stuff. They gave something back for that. The people of that country got a tangible benefit through the Belt and Road Initiative. Whereas we just went, nah, fuck it, we're just going to take all your shit and then wonder why you hate us.
Exactly. And they just go, I can't believe the Mauritius is a geopolitical enemy because they go with China. Yeah, because China didn't try and fucking steal.
Well, not even that now. They're making China are making moves in the Balkans now. Because again, the European Union, well, not just the European Union, the Western capitalism has abandoned all of the fucking people. So now the people of Serbia are like, well, capitalism isn't really working for us. So can we have that Belt and Road, please, Mr. Xi? Sorry, President Xi.
Xi. I mean, again, like, when Trump is literally threatening you will do what we want or we'll tariff you, and China's like, we would like to open up this friendly trading partnership of convenience. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course, like, we'll have the friendship bridge and all that shit.
Yeah, can we... So it's either financial penury, or you build us an airport. I
Or
mean,
a
that's
nuclear power plant or
that's
anything.
a no-brainer. Why would anyone go with America? Fucking hell.
CO2 emissions.
And
We
of course, China won't drag you into stupid wars. Whereas America definitely will. Just saying.
exported it.
Well, we have made an impact here in this country, but it's interesting. It's a dilemma for politicians around the world. And
No
Nigel
doubt.
Yeah, as pointed out, Birmingham might need to give Belton Road to get the fucking bins collected. We're just going to have Chinese binmen turn up one day. We won't realise why.
Dilemma for me. No dilemma for me. No dilemma for me. It is absolutely mindless for a country that produces less than 1% of global CO2 to beggar itself.
Nigel Farage,
Honestly, at this point, I just don't want to even hear arguments about climate change anymore, because these arguments are so fucking done to death. Just talk about the bills. Talk about national security. Talk about public ownership, right?
Yeah.
Like, why should we be reliant on fucking petro-states or the biggest oil producer in the world, Donald Trump, who wants to fucking essentially control the world through tariff policy, right?
Yeah.
Like, essentially make us a little vassal state cuckboy, when we could have our own publicly owned power that is entirely reliant on renewable energy, which means that we will no longer be relying on other countries for our power. Like Nigel Farage is saying, let's not own our own shit. Let's not, do what's best for Britain, the patriot that he is. No, let's do what's best for America and the United Arab Emirates.
Yes, indeed. Oh yeah, no. Did you also hear his latest Trump arse-lickery? Trump's coming over in a few weeks for his second state visit. Embarrassing, truly embarrassing. Nigel Farage wants an emergency reopening of Parliament, because of course Parliament goes on its summer recess, doesn't it? Or has it already, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, he wants it reopened so that Trump can make a statement and speech in front of both chambers, which is a thing that we don't do.
Genuinely a fucking pathetic, spineless little man, isn't he?
Well, that's like, and you don't have to lick the toe jam.
Literally just fucking full-on guzzling, right? He's
Embarrassing.
actually guzzling.
Yeah. Thank you, Vicky Clee, who says, I've just noticed how similar Laura's backdrop is to Trump's doodles. Oh no, don't remind me of that. I don't need his fuck. It's so obvious he's a nonce as well. It's so obvious. Jesus.
Like, literally, like, just... the Epstein stuff is very funny, because it's just so obvious. I mean, even his supporters basically realise that he's the guy from the books now.
Yeah, obviously. But the thing is, the Democrats are at least partly to blame for this, because they could have been making hay about these. They could have stopped Trump from becoming president by just pointing out the Epstein stuff at the start. But no, they're addicted to the Clintons.
Literally, Bill Clinton's... protecting Bill Clinton's alleged involvement with Jeffrey Epstein is far more important to the Democrats than the continued future of humanity.
And the Trump people are like, oh, Clinton's in there. Firstly, yeah, good. Yeah, I know. I want him to go to jail too. And secondly, like, what is that argument exactly? You help me protect my pederast, and I'll help you protect your pederast. Like, think that through. Think the fucking deal you're trying to make with me there. You want to protect 2 pedophiles. I don't want to protect any.
Exactly, and that's what Trump going. Anyone who cares about this is a loser. You're a loser. You're taken in by the Democrat host. If you care about child rape, then you're.
And
a
it's
loser.
so amazing to me. Look, I said at the time that Q was projection. The entire Q thing was projection, and so obviously it's been played out that way, because they're all just like, oh no, even if he was in the Epstein plot, I don't care. I don't care. Literally, they voted for the non-existent pedophile chamber underneath a pizza parlor in Washington DC to be president. Fucking hell.
Like, just so it's honestly.
And he did. He nicked Chelsea's little trophy as well. The fucking bell piece. He's a rungun. He's just a rungun all round. Like, you're so rich. Why would you bother? You don't even care about football. Why would you steal a football trophy? Why would you give a fuck? Like, it's funny to me. Oh, yeah. When the New England Patriots, the American football, as in the not football, because they barely use their feet at all, the throwing egg game. When they went to Moscow I don't know why the fuck they went to Moscow, but they did. And Bill Belichick, the head coach, who, by the way, is a 70-year-old man dating a 21-year-old. Very strange. He gave his ring to Vladimir Putin to look at. His Super Bowl ring, right? And you don't get a replacement for a Super Bowl ring. It's like a baggy green or some shit. Like, it's its own thing. It means something very special. And Vladimir Putin put it on and then just walked off. He just took it. He was just like, this is mine now. And it's like, when you got all the security around him, he just said, well, what was I going to do? Dive on him and take it back? Like, they fucking killed me.
Treating that ring like the fucking Donbass. Also, thank you, Cademon, for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Good to have you here.
Yes, indeed.
For your time. Well, as ever, you can let us know what you think. Get busy doing that. If you're that way inclined, you can use social media. BBC Laura K is the hashtag, or you can send us an email, kunsberg@bbc.co.uk. Well, let's check in with what our panel, who are no doubt listening agog, made of all of that. Matt, we just heard from a cabinet minister, followed by Nigel Farage. How do you think Labour should take on reform, who are months after months now ahead of them in the polls?
I think what's really interesting...
Have they thought about doing a funny podcast? They should do a funny podcast. That will definitely take them down.
Do what the Democrats do.
Exactly, yeah. What we need is a Labour version of Joe Rogan. Yeah?
interesting is you saw in those two interviews the root of the problems for both of those parties is Nigel Farage is a phenomenal political communicator, but he's not on top of the detail. And he's a particular type of capitalist for whom money is everything. He would deregulate, he would pollute.
Unlike what capitalists? What the fuck? You realise that the profit motive is like the core part of the capitalism, right?
MCM Prime, like the foundational understanding of capitalist economy.
Like, apart those capitalists who don't really give a fuck. They have rather... look, it's a kind of ad hoc thing. Maybe we make money, maybe we don't. Who cares, you know? Kind of chill capitalists. Yeah? That don't exist. Fuck's sake.
He would lead to problems in re-industrialising this country that would have all sorts of negative consequences for us. However, he is right about the global impact of some of the measures we're taking, and I think people watching him will have a really emotive response. Some people will just be repelled. Other people will say, this bloke is talking sense. Why are we bending over backwards when China and India are pumping out megatons of carbon?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Farage didn't make that point, and now fucking Ford is. Again, so Ford's been outflanked to the left by Farage, and Ford outflanked the Labour minister to the left.
And also on top of this, it's worth pointing out that China have installed more photovoltaic capacity than the entirety of the rest of the world combined in 2024.
She just keeps winning. He just keeps winning.
It's do nothing win. It's the ultimate strategy.
Well, it's not do nothing. It's just get on with the job of governing. Now, there are some very tightly hidden costs to that governing. I'm not suggesting he's a good dude, but govern. Actually get on with building shit.
Well, that's the
We
thing,
need train lines, we're going to build some fucking train lines. We need skyscrapers, we're going to build them. Doesn't matter if anyone wants to live there, we're building the cunts. Like, you build enough shit, some of it'll work.
That's the irony is that it's so weird that the totalitarian dictatorship essentially has more of a connection with its constituents, because you know that if you don't give them at least the basics, they'll fucking revolt.
Yeah.
Because that's the dynamic that you have.
And even though they're also capitalist as well in China, they do occasionally execute or imprison a really, really bad example of corruption, which never happens here. We elect them fucking president and stuff here.
Whereas in this kind of managed democracy shit that we've got here, right? Like, you just get to choose between your different set of lizards, right?
Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's literally just, it's neoliberal 1 or neoliberal 2. John Thompson or Tom Johnson? It's that. It's that meme.
Separating all our stuff into 5 different bins, really making that sort of an effort. On the other side, you've got Steve...
Jesus Christ, he's now doing fucking... who was that? Who was at the 5 bins? Was that Sunak?
Sunak.
Yeah, he's doing Sunak memes as real now. Who's separating anything into 5 bins, you dopey cunt? We can't get them to collect regular rubbish, let alone fucking recycling. What? Fucking 5 bins. You 5 bin twat.
Reid, someone who is not making big grand claims, who's saying we're going to cut pollution in half, which, you know, it's just not as exciting. It's just not as compelling. We know deep down we should want politicians who say, this is as much as I can do at the moment, and I'm being honest with you about how we solve these big problems, and people know that Labour didn't cause these problems. But I really feel that when you watch those two interviews back to back, there is something about those sorts of communicators that are emotive, that are entertaining, that at the moment, this country's been in a very parlour state since around 2008. People are skint, everything costs a fortune, the rivers are full of turds, and people like Farage...
So is Parliament, though. Ew.
Oh, so tempting.
People like Farage.
And so, unfortunately, is the writer's room on fucking Spitting Image.
What is funny, he goes, well, the politicians are failing and the country's in the shit. And Nigel Farage comes here, and I'm like, with easy solutions. And I'm just like, well, people like you said no to the actual solutions that would work, so here we are. Well done. Welcome to the prize. You got what you wanted.
Yeah. Adults in the room.
Through.
Joe, you do communications, political communications for a living. If you were Labour or the Tories, how do you then combat what Matt's suggesting there is a sort of emotion where people can be appealed to by their gut as well as their ideologies or their brains?
Well, I mean, there's a few different things, and Matt's right in a lot of what he said. You know, cut the speeches with the sort of the folks from different businesses that are sort of stuck there like hostages behind you. And
the politicians' visits.
Who actually listens to this stuff? You know, and then you find out that actually the Prime Minister read it and he read it out, but hadn't actually read it beforehand. It's pointless. Like, you're absolutely right about
of course,
the
because the Prime Minister is merely a mouthpiece for the real leader. You think that's his policy? Well, I mean, Morgan McSweeney, but yeah, I mean, Ali's the kind of money man.
The triumvirate.
Yeah.
The McFadden, McSweeney, Ali triumvirate.
Yes.
Gosh, no, the problem.
And let's hope that goes as badly for the actual Roman triumvirate as well, because I think they all got killed in the end.
The problem is, Labour's biggest challenge, I think, is that they walked everybody up this big hill saying they had this huge plan for change.
Did they?
But then you heard the Environment Secretary say that he was furious about something that happened a year ago. But then he's also waiting for a report tomorrow that he won't talk about, but is making an announcement which is off the back of a report that he won't talk to you about the detail of because it's scheduled for tomorrow. And the public are out there going, I'd much rather listen to Nigel Farage going, I've got no idea, Laura. I have got no idea about that thing you're just talking to me about. I'm not going to pretend. I don't know. But you know what?
No, but him saying I don't know is him pretending, because he does know. He's a liar.
True.
In 3 years' time, 4 years' time, and there's an election, he will then have to know the detail. Well, but people have a thing with Nigel Farage, and I actually met a couple yesterday and I asked them the question, what appeals to you about him? And they said, well, he's actually done something. He said we'd get Brexit, and he did it. Now, actually, he didn't. He wasn't actually.
Yeah, he wasn't in Parliament. He campaigned for it, and like, there's no denying he's a big part of it. But he didn't get Brexit done. He was no part of that.
I mean, he lied about what the position would be post-Brexit. After the vote happened, he just kind of sat around the sidelines going, boo, bad, do the good Brexit I want, not the bad Brexit, and then didn't get involved in any of the negotiations because he's never won any elections ever until 2024. So, like, he took all of the credit for stuff that he didn't do, other than just said, well, I want to be out of the European Union, you got to sort out the mess that I've created.
Yep.
Also, thank you for the £10, Vicky, I appreciate the support.
Yeah, thank you. Eric Adams, is this a direct quote? I don't support globalising the Infantino. Did he actually say that? Because like, that sounds a funny meme, but that could also be true because he's an idiot.
Well, he said, I think the phrase they actually said was, why won't Zohran condemn the phrase globalise the infatada?
Infatada? What the fuck is that?
I know, the enchilada.
Yeah, it's a mix. It's a
mix. Empanada.
Well, he's an Australian who lives in Argentina, so that's 2 continents. Sort of worldwide, if you think about it.
One of the people that did it, he was part of a group that wanted it, but they see delivery, and they don't see that with successive governments.
In case the camera didn't catch it, Stephen, there was quite an epic eye roll there just a couple of seconds
he was
ago.
furious earlier about the quality of...
Yeah, it's not the only thing he rolls. Love it.
Scottish water as well.
Yeah, but on the point of Brexit, look, I think everyone across the UK right now, and Matt's kind of referenced it, feels that Britain is broken, that the public finances are in a mess and the politicians are lost as to how you get out of that particular mess. And yet the guy who orchestrated it, who I've just sat and watched over there, doesn't have to face the consequences of the economic damage that Brexit has done to the UK. It has made us smaller and it has made us poorer. And if the Labour Party want to defeat Nigel Farage, they need to accept the premise that Brexit...
No, he's making a good point here, but I will just say, and I'm not a person who opposes Scottish independence, I'm just saying, you can't make the argument that making a thing smaller is bad if you're the one that wants to make the country a lot smaller.
True.
Like, that's not a winner for you. Just saying.
Brexit has been a disaster, and explain to people across the UK that the only way, the best way to grow the economy and to get our public finances in a fit state as a result is to realign our relationship with the European Union in a more positive way.
But in terms of the impact of reform, I mean, it's affecting the Tories, it's affecting the Labour Party, it's also been affecting
to be fair,
the SNP.
if there is one good thing that Starmer could do, is to just sort of surreptitiously go towards a softer Brexit situation. Just like the softer Brexit that could have happened at the start.
I mean, also the softer Brexit that Nigel Farage said that he wanted in 2016. He said we should have a Norway-style EEA deal, and now he's saying we need to have like WTO hard Brexit. Fucking con man.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You know, he is the ultimate fucking monorail guy.
You know, the recent by-election in Scotland, Reform ended up with 26% of a share of the vote in the Hamilton by-election.
Well, I don't think there is a correlation between the drop-off and the SNP vote, because the SNP vote at that election replicated what the national polling would suggest. In fact, I would suggest it's Conservatives and the Labour Party who are feeling the brunt of Nigel Farage.
So you don't think Reform has an impact then on you in Scotland?
Of course they're making an impact in Scotland, but the best way to take Nigel Farage on is to deal
with
the facts with him, to say to him that...
They are having an effect in Scotland, Reform UK, and it's to give the SNP even more seats.
Yeah.
Because the unionist vote is now divided 5 ways.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking funny.
Yeah, seats where the Tories could campaign against them are going to lose massively. Seats where the Labour Party are there's a lot of disenfranchised Labour voters who might just think, well, fuck it.
Well,
and that's enough. I mean, in a seat where it's like 500, 1,000, 2,000, that could be the difference. Yeah.
Like, just looking in current polling, there might only be too short of an absolute majority in Holyrood, which is half proportional representation.
After like fucking 20 years in government.
Yeah, literally, they elected like a nobody, like a charisma vacuum in John Swinney as leader. Just sat back and did nothing whilst their polling was in the absolute doldrums. And then Keir Starmer just turbo fucks the country into the ground. Reform UK split the Tory votes. There's just like there's just 5 different ways that the unionists have to go in different areas of Scotland.
You're going to end up in Scotland with everyone hating the SNP and electing them a majority in Stormont. Not Stormont, in Holyrood, and then electing like 40 MPs.
Literally, they're going to get a lower percentage of the vote that they did in 2024, and just sweep like 45 seats.
But you know what you need? Instead of splitting the unionist vote 5 ways, why not do it 6 ways, 7 ways, 1 million ways?
Imagine if the Corbyn party started running people in Scotland.
Well, I think in Scotland they'd have to be pro-independence, I think, in order to garner that left-wing vote. I don't think a left-wing anti-independence party has much of a future, really, does it?
Well, I mean, I just don't think they should run. I just don't think they should run in Scotland.
Probably, to be fair, yeah.
The best way to stop Keir Starmer having more influence is to ensure that he has as few seats in Scotland as possible.
That's absolutely fair, yeah. Yeah.
If you're going to come after Scotland's renewable energy sector, you're putting at risk tens of thousands of jobs. You're going to leave cities like mine looking like Detroit in 30 years' time, rather than an expansive, future-looking city which exports its skills and expertise across the globe. He wants to sabotage our renewable...
Who's that more insulting to, Detroit or Aberdeen? I don't know. They're both fucked, though, but, you know.
Future in order to play up to his own ideology.
You know, in Detroit's fucking wild, by the way. You know, there are sectors of that city that have been totally given up, and now it's run by colonies of wild cats.
It really is.
Entire
farming of America.
It literally. Well, I'm not even like rat-sized cats, like literally like bobcats and shit. have just taken over. Humans don't go in there. They literally, the local authorities say don't go there. And there's literally rows of like derelict, fucked up houses with like, you can tell they've been used for like taking drugs and fucking, you know, all kinds of shit over the last 20, 30 years. And cats have just taken over. There are now just colonies of feral cats that just run bits of, that used to host tens of thousands of like auto workers and stuff, but are now completely abandoned.
Yeah, like people who fought in the fucking war and were given houses by the
Yeah.
government.
Yeah. And now it's a glorified cat try.
That's what happens when you don't do industrial policy and you leave it up to the free market.
Yep.
So doesn't have to face any of the consequences for the decisions he's made in relation to collapsing the UK's economy with Brexit.
But they do now have places that they're running, places they're in charge of. They've got budgets that they're in charge of, and therefore they face questions in a way on their own record that they didn't used to do. For your party, because you were, I know you're known now for telling very, but you're not a member anymore. That's interesting because you used to work for the Labour Party.
I did. I left when Jeremy Corbyn became leader.
But you haven't really.
Fucking briefcase of all briefcases, man. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Get
When the
fucked.
war criminal was there, I loved writing speeches for the war criminal, the guy who killed 1 million people in Iraq. You know, that was really great. Then the guy turned up who once mispronounced the name Epstein. That was beyond the pale, right?
Yeah.
War crimes I can forgive. Mispronouncing the name of an international sex trafficker, that is a line I refuse to cross.
Exactly. He's literally Hitler.
I would
But
never,
you didn't rejoin.
I would never join a political party. I think they're mad. I mean, I have a lot of respect for
Take it
politicians,
personally,
not saying,
Stephen.
but I just think, man, I
I'm glad I'm in the middle of it.
can't sit in rooms with people who are like balmy anymore.
I've never been a member of a political party
No.
either.
But you worked for the
I
Conservatives.
worked for the Conservatives a long time ago. I actually went to work for the Conservatives after having voted Labour in '97, which always confuses people out there because they're like, but I'm a sort of centrist. My thing is, there's stuff that people are trying to do on different.
I don't know that I can analyse that and mock it any more than it already is. Like, it stands alone as a self-defeating, self-mocking statement. That's it. I don't need to. We don't need to analyse that. It's just.
Well, you could give up. Just
Yeah.
fucking end the stream now.
Yeah,
Like,
it
go-
works.
It's like look. I mean, to be fair, it's like Amanda Iannucci looking at politics
Yeah.
in general and just being like, well, my job's done. Can't parody this any harder than it's parodying itself.
Yeah. Because I think, like, Malcolm Tucker works because he's reacting to relatively small fuck-ups in extreme ways. Whereas you think, like, the way he reacts to stuff is appropriate, given what the government are now doing. Like, releasing fucking thousands of people's data to the Taliban. Like, yeah, you should get a bit sweary and angry about that, I reckon. I reckon that's actually fine to go mental about.
Honestly,
So behind the
I
scenes,
reckon-
he'd have to, like, start chopping people up for it to be extreme or something, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine just like the Dominic Cummings of this world must have been genuinely effing and blinding, like really.
Oh, God, yeah.
style.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, what's that? Oh, fucking hell. Jeremy Hunt's just been caught fucking his secretary. Can't he just go back to fucking up everything else in his department? Like, what's that? Oh, he's giving out another contract of £1 squillion to his mate down the pub. Brilliant.
Parts of the political spectrum that are good.
Who the
But
fuck
actually
is
their
Michelle
ability to
Mone?
translate that. Your point about Nigel Farage is really interesting. They are running stuff. He is saying that even at a local council level, they cannot get the info. But he's claiming that if he was running a government, he could go and transform these institutions. And does he think it's going to be that much easier to achieve these inefficiencies that they're struggling to even see the books at a local level?
Matt, I just want to put this to you.
Yeah, I think he's probably lying about that. But yeah, the idea that he's going to walk into Whitehall and these old fucking mandarins. Like, yes, Minister is, like, dated in many respects, but in terms of the way in which it approaches the kind of self-protecting body of evil that is the bureaucracy in Westminster, it's pretty accurate by the looks of things.
Yeah, because it's interesting, and I feel like that kind of like the circle jerk of politics in like other countries seems to really kind of change with the times, right? You look at America, and it's all really, you can see the different eras of politics, right?
Oh yeah, you go from the weird neocon people to now it's like 19-year-old 4chan Nazis and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, like you can see it with all like the statesmen of the 50s and like the war hawks of the 80s, right? Like there you can see the kind of the ebbs and flows. Where in the UK we've got such like a gigantic like class structure that's permeated centuries of the historical kind of the tapestry of what Britain is. That it never changes.
Yeah,
it's always the same.
It's just an entrenched group of privately educated wankers who run everything, regardless of who you elect.
Exactly.
And David Blunkett, everyone will remember, very prominent cabinet minister from the New Labour days, now in the Lords. He said in the Mirror this morning, we need audacious leaders to shake the nation. That shouldn't be left to snake oil salesmen of the far right, to use his phrase.
Okay, I would hazard that when you were Home Secretary, you were actually pretty far right yourself, mate. If you go back and look at the way in which he talked about migrants, no, you were far right. You set the foundations for this.
He was issuing backdoor deals with Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
About coverage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, he was cutting the deals to make sure that they got the right coverage of the right things ahead of time. Yeah, he was doing right wing propaganda with the Sun, with the Rupert Murdoch elite. Yeah. So, but everyone else is far right, not him.
He's clearly warning. He reckons that Farage could beat Starmer if Starmer doesn't pull his finger out.
Well, no, this is all. Farage will beat Starmer. It's whether he gets a majority. There's no way Starmer can drag this back now, unless Farage dies or something. Like, Starmer won't do anything in the next election. He'll be gone.
He'll be gone anyway, because he'll probably be unseated.
Probably. I mean, we're hearing
Andrew Feinstein.
Yeah, we're hearing noises about Wes Streeting, perhaps getting a leadership campaign together.
But then also we'll lose his seat to Leanne Mohammed.
Which would be very funny.
Exciting. How does he do that?
Labour in control. So Labour still have the ability to transform this country, and I think a lot of what they're doing is very positive.
No. Labour are in government. They're not in control. We just saw what happened in Parliament, mate. They're not in control of anything.
I'm naturally a Labour person. I want this government to do well, and I agree.
No,
with
you're not. No. If when Jeremy Corbyn became leader, you noped out. You're not a natural Labour person. You're not. You're a Blairite entryist piece of scum. Fuck you.
Exactly. Like, the membership overwhelmingly voted, both old and new members, for Jeremy Corbyn twice.
Yep.
The Labour movement told you what it represented and who it was. If you disagree with that, then you aren't Labour.
Yep.
Like, simply, like, even if it wasn't the case that Blairism ideologically is completely removed from the Labour movement's history in this country, right? Even if you remove that piece of information from it, you just looked at, well, the Labour movement is what the Labour movement says that it represents, right? You are you're just not, in any sense of the word, right? No matter how you look at it, you are not Labour. You never have been. No. And neither is this government.
Indeed.
I would actually take heart from so much of the conversation has been that Labour are pandering to reform voters with crime and immigration. Nigel Farage just sat there peddling a pro-nationalisation of steel, partial nationalisation of water. Labour should take heart from that and say, this guy who is outflanking us on the right actually is selling ideas that our core vote really likes. And
yeah, and they're not offering. So they're not outflanking them on the right, he's outflanking them on the left. Do you realise that, Matt?
He's a fucking idiot.
No, I don't. Yeah.
They are Labour ideas.
Very interesting times. Thank you.
Labour ideas not being offered by the Labour Party. Can you hear that, Matthew?
Three of you for now. Well, the political field is a very crowded one these days, and politics shows absolutely no signs of slowing down. You can't blame MPs, the poor dears, for packing up soon for Parliament to take a break. Although before any of our MP viewers or guests scream this morning, many of them will be very busy in their constituencies. So let us know if you spot your own over the summer. But they will have a chance to mull all of this over.
Popular decisions aren't tough, they're easy.
Those not in receipt of pension credit or certain other means-tested benefits will no longer receive the winter fuel payment. I am announcing an increase in employers' national insurance contributions.
Heavy Badenoch, 53,806 votes.
Who's she? Who's this one?
Don't know.
Why is she sat next to Bobby J? What's happening here? Very strange.
We already have to begin to leave the opposition. Who fucking cares about anyone else?
This has never happened before. This is unprecedented.
You don't have the cards right now.
We are now the opposition. We are now the ones that will take on Keir Starmer.
I think he's running a cult.
Excuse me, do you think it's all right not to pay?
It is a choice for terminally ill people about how they...
I feel like we need the Imperial March when this person appears. Dun 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 dun. Or possibly
Thank you for the 5 gifted, Vicky.
Or possibly the Death March. Either one will work because she is a monumentally evil person. Thank you, Andrina Websdale, for becoming a member, and thank you, Vicky, with 5 gifters.
Like a baby otter.
Much love to you, my friend.
The eyes have it, the eyes have it. A lot!
We are taking action to put the social security system on a sustainable...
Actually, the same rules apply here. The Imperial March would work very well.
Like a baby otter.
Or some sort of just post-apocalyptic rave music, perhaps.
Have you lost control of your MPs, Prime Minister?
We're only getting started and the Chancellor's led on all these issues and we're grateful to her for it.
Davey, not in his life jacket, is with us in the studio this morning. Good to have you with us today. Let's start with water. Now, for some time...
Oh, they've let him in the studio! No, he's usually in a field.
Oh, no.
He's a good boy. They've let him indoors. Maybe you stopped pissing on a rug. Maybe that's what it was. No, I'll wipe your nose in it until you learn. Okay? Thank you, Tess, for gifting a membership.
Decided to get rid of Ofwat. Steve Wood was coy, but it looks very much like that's going to happen. But what's the point of just replacing one quango with another quango? Your version would be the Clean Water Authority. What's the point of that?
Depends on its powers. We need a water regulator that can really hold these water companies to account, fine them properly when they fail. And our Clean Water Authority would not just replace Ofwat with Ofwat's powers, it would take powers from the Environment Agency, powers from the Drinking Water Inspectorate. But you're also right, a tough regulator bites.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, these private water companies, they're gonna think twice once they've heard from the Clean Water Inspectorate.
Yeah, no, you know what? They'll be quaking in their boots. They really
I know
will.
this is the first thing I'm gonna bring up on Tuesday. It's gonna go, well, I found Ed Davey threatening the water companies with a visit from the Clean Water Inspectorate rather than nationalising them. What do you mean? Why do you think this was a good plan?
Because it's sensible.
Itself isn't sufficient. That's why we want to restructure the water industry. We've talked about public benefit corporations. There's models from some of the states in the United States. The benefit it would have.
Oh, okay, brilliant, brilliant. I think we should take, we should take public services advice from the USA.
Yeah.
Rather than every other European country, because you seem to love the European Union when it comes to trade policy, right? Yet when we're going to copy companies, we're not going to have public ownership like every normal country does. We're going to follow the crackpot neoliberal hellscape country. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Literally anything but nationalisation. Brilliant. Also, amazing freeze frame there. That is.
Also, want to point out that the public benefit companies was literally the idea that was floated by that guy from The Observer who had secret meetings with the boss of Severn Trent to try and find a way to ensure that they didn't get nationalised.
Oh, yeah, that little fucker. Yeah.
Huge amounts of money. The shareholders and the bondholders of the current water companies would take a haircut. They lose their money.
Would take a haircut.
Fresh and get the investment we need without costing bill payers and taxpayers.
But how could people watching this morning be confident?
You want to cut their hair. I think the people of Britain want to cut about a foot lower than that. I'm not saying I do, obviously. I'm just saying the people of Britain would want that.
That a new quango would do a better job than an old quango. So it might have more powers, but why would it be able to actually get the job done any better? Why could they have faith in that?
Well, the regulatory system at the moment is a failure. It's clear that it's failed, and that's why Liberal Democrats have ran the campaigns that we did. It looks like quite successfully. But it needs more powers. At the moment, you've got powers in the Environment Agency, powers in Ofwat, powers in the Drinking Water Inspectorate. It's no wonder these water companies have been getting away with it. So let's see what the Water Commission announces on Monday, will be holding the government to account. They need to go really far. They've been quite slow so far, and that lack of ambition has been quite frustrating.
How would you, though, persuade huge multi-billion pound corporations?
Asking nicely? Have we thought about asking nicely? I'm sure they'll do it then.
To lose money and turn themselves into, or be forced to turn themselves into, public benefit companies, the firms that you describe, where they, yes, can make some profit, but they also have very strict rules about having to protect the environment. How would you just make that happen? You can't expect shareholders with legal rights just to turn into something else.
Well, I mean,
Well, first of all, let's
if
take
you're going to do
Thames
that,
Water.
right? If your premise is going to be, well, the shareholders can get fucked, then why just nationalise it?
Yeah.
Like, just why fucking half-ass this shit?
Yep.
It's lost money hugely. That's why Liberal Democrats have talked about it going into special administration, which is temporary
But I'm talking about how you
nationalisation.
force multi-billion pound companies to turn themselves into something else, where they're not allowed to make as much money.
Do you know, if they had the proper regulation, I think they'd just give it up. Because properly regulated, they know that they wouldn't be able to make all the huge dividends that they've made to their shareholders. They wouldn't be able to make the bonuses that they've made in the past.
So your plan is to make the environment so the business.
So your proper regulation will force permanent nationalisation.
Well, that's the point, right? Is that that's what the line was from the Labour Party before the election. It's even more toothless now. I mean, the Lib Dems are proposing more than Labour are doing, which is crazy at this point, really. But if what you're saying here is that these private companies are so untrustworthy, they literally refuse to do what is good for the country unless the regulator basically runs them by proxy. What's the point in having them privatised? Just have them public, and they don't need a fucking intermediary. Rather than forcing them to act in a certain way, just do the acting for them by owning the company.
Business environment so unattractive for big companies that they walk away from the UK.
No, we're trying to make it attractive for the environment and public health. What's been failing
So
at
you
the
want
moment...
big companies to walk away? I mean, that's what you just suggested.
Well, no, hold on. Of course,
I do. Yeah.
Into the oceans full of shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they want to go at a higher speed, I do have an ancient siege weapon that will get them there quicker. But I will allow them to walk away. Yes.
we want private capital in, but in this particular sector, the private capital model that was brought in by the Conservatives has failed. We think going back to a nationalisation model would be a failure too. It cost huge amounts of money. You're right to question Nigel Farage on that. He didn't have an answer, did he? We've got an answer coming from best practice in the United States.
Your answer's shit, though. Yeah, you have an answer from America. Nobody wants that.
You actually see in Wales, Wales has got a very interesting mutual model.
But the point is about how you make that happen, and how you've described it is
It's
essentially
funny,
that
really.
the big boys would...
That you can talk about, well, the US have this and Wales have this. What's the best performing part of the UK in terms of water delivery? Well, it's Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what model do they have, Ed? Yeah, they have it like publicly owned.
would walk away because they wouldn't be able to make the same level of profit. But the very problem of the water industry has been underinvestment. So if you make it unattractive for big investors to stay in that industry, where are you going to get the money from to spend on leaking pipes and dodgy sewers?
Public benefit corporations, as we see them, could borrow a lot of money, but they'd be run commercially, but with an...
Yay! They'll get into loads of debt too. Awesome.
Environmental mandate as well. It's been done elsewhere really successfully. We'll be pushing for it. It's, I think, the most sensible model both for the taxpayer and for the bill payer, and also for those of us who care about sorting out our
Okay, but like the taxpayer and the bill payer are the same fucking person. Pretty much. So like, I don't know why you're acting like those are two different interests. The UK, the taxpayer pays for it either way. Either directly to the government in taxation, or to these fucking stupid pseudo-private companies in increased costs.
And also, everyone is a bill payer because everyone drinks water.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. The bill payer and the taxpayer are essentially the same thing. It's not quite a circle. Not everyone pays tax. The rich certainly don't. But, you know, by and large.
industry and getting rid of the sewage from our rivers, lakes and seas.
What you're talking about there would be a very big change in how a very big and important industry in this country works. You're also talking in terms of the economy about some pretty big promises or some pretty big bits of spending that the Liberal Democrats have either called for or welcomed, and we can look at some of them. You welcomed the government's U-turn on welfare, ditching those plans. That's about £5 billion. You welcomed also them scrap.
She didn't do this breakdown for the military spending, which is like many times all of this combined.
True. Yeah, she says it was necessary, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. You know, don't need to question that at all. Anyway, but you want to spend 1.5 billion on not freezing Granny to death? Interesting. Let's penny pinch.
Curious.
Scrapping of the winter fuel allowance. It's another £1.5 billion. You want to get rid of the two-child benefit cap that limits some benefits for families with more than 2 kids. It's another £3.5 billion. And you say the government should be spending 3% of...
What's that? You want to spend money on not starving children?
You know what's interesting as well? It's like they look at all of these massive pledges that you've got, all with super expensive to do the welfare things, and then like you also want to spend this extra on defence, and it's more than everything else combined, right? All of those welfare pledges are tiny in comparison.
Yep, absolutely.
Of the whole national economy on defence before 2034, that might be more than £13 billion a year. So where on earth is all that money going to come from?
Well, let me take you through it. First of all, on welfare, we do need to cut the welfare bill. The question is how you do it.
They all agree we all have to cut welfare. There's no fucking difference between any of these wankers, basically.
And what can you guess, given how it's usually rich older people who vote for the Liberal Democrats, whether or not they're going to talk about cutting the welfare bill in terms of the triple lock?
No, even though the vast majority of the bill is pensions.
Indeed.
But that doesn't get touched. It's like in America, like all of the spending is military, but they'll touch like the food stamps, which is 0.0001%.
Literally, like they increased military spending in the BBB.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
The question on all of this is, where is your extra hoped-for spending that the government hasn't funded? Where is that all going to come from?
Well, first of all, we've argued to have a much more growth-orientated policy. So you know, I've been on this programme before.
Okay.
The growth button.
It's just Rachel Reeves.
Emotes at the ready, people. Fuck yes. Just hit the growth button. Fuck yes. Maybe he's going to start crying. Who knows?
Talked about our proposal to have a new UK-EU customs union.
Oh God! Oh, he's. He's the Lib Dem, of course. You know, because that's the Remain benefit or whatever it was called.
The Remain bonus.
The Remain bonus is going to pay for all of this. It is. You know that money you get for rejoining the EU somehow? Yeah.
And is something that might not necessarily be what the public wants. So that's a possibility, but it's a sketchy possibility.
I think it's very likely. Let me explain why. The thing about trade is mutually beneficial, so both sides have to benefit. And the customs unions have been taken.
They don't. Have you ever? Firstly, that's an amazing freeze frame. He looks fun. Anyway,
like Michael Howard.
It is very Michael Howard, or possibly clown without the makeup on. Is what I'm also thinking. Anyway, have you never seen capitalism? It's not true that it has to be mutually beneficial. It can just be horrifically one-sided. It's how we did capitalism for years. That's why the Commonwealth exists. Like.
Taken on board not just by people in the EU but other countries outside the EU in the way that we're proposing, and that would be, I think, massively beneficial for growth. There's been a frontier economics study that suggests they get £25 billion from growth over a few years.
But the political arguments of that have been
Brexit bonus. Hello.
He's literally doing Remain bonus. It's 2019 all over again. Ed, tell us about the skills wallet. The people demand skills wallets.
5p bank tax.
Very well rehearsed in this country, and it is not what the two big parties have argued for. And you know that it's not likely.
I'm the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Laura.
Time.
I'm the leader of the Liberal Democrats. You've asked me what our policy is. I've put forward a pro-European.
Our policy is to rejoin the European Union. Okay. No matter how unworkable that is as a policy right now. Not even to have a referendum, we're just going to rejoin. Fuck you.
Pro-growth policy that can work, that independent analysis has shown work, which would deal with, well, they've gone now, some of the figures you put on there. But I can take you through all those individual policies, show how Liberal Democrats would do things far, far differently. I think people have been disappointed in this Labour government, and that's giving room for people like Nigel Farage. So we've got to have some big ideas. I came forward with an idea this week. I think we should aim to halve people's energy bills, businesses' energy bills, within the decade. I go further than that. I think we have to do that. People's energy bills are way too high. It's hitting industry. And on that...
Okay, that's nice. How are you going to do that?
By rejoining the EU.
But just by rejoining the EU, of course, naturally.
Literally said we want bold and innovative policy proposals like the thing we've been banging on about for the last decades.
Pretty much.
In that regard, I agree with Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage. The difference is they want to make it worse. They would rely far more on fossil fuels, and it's the price of gas that's been putting up the bills of energy for our businesses and for our households. We have a proposal, set out in detail if you like, which would move far more to renewables so we aren't so reliant on this expensive gas from Vladimir Putin, who is the world leader that Nigel Farage admires the most.
Okay, well, we know how much energy bills matter to everyone watching this morning and how important they are for
and
politicians.
Didn't lay out,
another
said,
time we have
well,
more
we're going
time
to
to
move
talk
to renewables,
about that.
and yet they don't support like public investment or public ownership.
No, absolutely. And yes, he was in the Tory Lib Dem coalition.
He was a government minister. He
was indeed. Killed all of those post office submasters as well, personally, with his own bare hands.
Proposal, but Ed Davey, thank you very much indeed for joining us in the studio this morning. Water, as we've been discussing, is a huge deal for lots of you and lots of our politicians, and lately it's become the backdrop also for lots of photo ops. We know that Ed Davey, we've been speaking to, has spent a fair bit of time splashing around in Britain's rivers, but he's not the only one. Steve Reid, the Environment Secretary, is no stranger to getting his wellies on, taking a water sample there. And just this week, Robert Jenrick...
What the fuck is this?
You hate politicians so much. Just like, stop pretending you're real people. We all know you're lizards. Fuck off.
What is he doing? What? Like, why are you posing like you're on the front cover of an album? Like, just look off into the distance like I'm pretending the camera isn't really there.
And it's funny as well how they... I can't show my nips. Have to put the massive towel over.
Yeah, massive towel over the nips. And also, let's be honest, I'm just going to say, I've had a look around. Cold water, was it, lad? A bit on the nippy side by the looks of things. That's fair enough. You know what? We all have that problem. It's fine.
Shadow Justice Secretary, so shy of the limelight, shared this snap after he'd been cooling off in the River Thames.
Very
in
cool,
Shropshire.
yes.
Well, his colleague Kevin Hollinrake is here. We couldn't find a photograph of you while swimming.
I don't care about what Kevin Hollinrake has to say about anything.
I've never cared about anything less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also tired.
I'm also a little bit tired as well. So I think it's probably best.
We got the good bits out. We got to laugh at Ed Davey. We got to get mad at Nigel Farage, and I got to lose my fucking mind. It's Steve Reid say this isn't an area for the government.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was the high point of the show. I think.
I think probably yeah. It was the most telling, revealing piece of nonsense. Yeah.
It really was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sums them up perfectly. Feckless wankers. Anyway, who should we should probably go over to people on the various platforms.
Yeah, I think I might read Gremlo on Twitch.
Is Gremlo going at this time? Good God.
Yeah.
They're usually very much a morning person. Who do we have? We have some random geek on YouTube. There we go. And yeah, I'll go over to Gremlo. I haven't been over to Gremlo in a long time. I think I'm still a VIP on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow. I think you're back with Christy tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah, Monday. Yeah, I'll be back with Christy. Yeah, and then we'll do stuff at some point. I will definitely do want to watch the Mehdi Hassan thing at some point, because that looks like absolute cancer.
It really does, doesn't it?
Yes, so enjoy that, I suppose. Yeah, everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on the various platforms.
Go and follow Kevin Logan. That's KevLogan1875 on Twitch. Not KevLogan1875 on Twitter, and at Ploppy111 over on the YouTubes.
See, you know all of that stuff, and I couldn't do that. I don't even know what my fucking Twitter handle is. I just signed in.
Luckily for me, it's very easy because mine's just at No Justice MTG on every platform.
That's
The Lib Dem
true.
debate is Tuesday, by the way, Water.
Yeah. Yes, so Free Palestine.
Free Palestine from the river to the sea.
Indeed.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.